is up, everyone? How's it going? How's it going? Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's Tuesday. I don't know. I'm a little out of it. I've been dealing with a bunch of BS at work. Not BS, it's just limited bandwidth because we had one team member um, leave. So, of course, that, means more stress on me. Home Assistant or OpenHab? I haven't played with either one yet. I just haven't had much bandwidth to go tinkering with a lot of things like I've been wanting to do. Um, Hell, I barely have enough time to make the YouTube videos that I want to do. And on that note, I finally got around to writing scripts for a couple YouTube videos I want to create. So the teleprompter that I've actually got here, that's actually been really great because now I feel a little bit more confident in writing all sorts of content to put on YouTube and everything. So it'll be great in the long term. But yeah. Oh shit, forgot to post that I am live on the Blue Skies. Twitch right now. There we go. Post that live. And apparently people have been going crazy lately because everyone's under the whole misconception that what is it? Mozilla is now selling your data, and the reality is no, they're not. It's just people have read too much into it, and a lot of people aren't aware that the term sell is broadly defined in many jurisdictions. Mozilla, like the people behind Firefox. So the CCPA and other regulations out there stipulate that anyone selling data could be as simple as people who are exchanging data, sharing data for free. So, from my understanding, if I were to have system information, basic telemetry, my computer gives out and everything, that would be considered selling my data, even though I'm not doing it for money. Does that make sense? Like, technically speaking, from my understanding, Steam collecting your information for the Steam surveys, that is technically, in many jurisdictions, selling data, even though they may not necessarily be selling it to third parties. So everyone's jumping the gun, I think, with Mozilla right now. And a lot of the people I notice that are doing it are the Puritans. And my argument to them is simple. If you really are this gung-ho about hating Mozilla Firefox, name me a better browser that isn't a fork of their engine or Chromium. Because the way I see it is you have one of two stewards to basically look at in terms of your web engine. There is the Gecko engine with Firefox. I think they moved to Quantum, though. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then you have Chromium, which is backed by Google. There is other things like Epiphany, which is GNOME with WebGTK and all that, but anyone will tell you if you go outside of Chromium browsers, sometimes you're going to have issues with Firefox. Safari even has its issues too. And Safari, who the hell is actually going out of their way to install Safari? How many people do you know actually use Safari that's not on an iPhone or on a Mac? Yeah. Do you use Thunderbird? Hell yeah. I've been using Thunderbird for 25 years, give or take, somewhere around there. I have tried different clients, but I prefer to use Thunderbird. I do use Microsoft Outlook as well, but that's mostly on the phone because I use the Owl plugin from Bayonex, which only costs me like $8 a year to, a couple coffees a year, which allows the OWL connections that Outlook prefers, so that I can use Office 365 and everything inside of Thunderbird, especially when using Linux. So, yeah. I have a feeling this is conspiracy paired with the support of the Chromium-based browsers being announced back in January. I don't know about that, but basically it's the same old bad wording from an open source project that didn't understand that. Let me put it this way, and I mean this with love, I mean this with respect. A lot of the people in software are idiots when it comes to the law. I'm just saying that. I'm saying that with love. I'm saying that with respect. Y'all are great coders. You know how to code. But when it comes to the legalese of things, y'all don't know compliance. Y'all don't. These are the same people that will argue with me at work, by the way, about how their code is so great. But then I look at it and I'm like, why are you not doing this securely? You can't expose that. You can't expose that. Your code looks great, but no. As I said, bioethics needs to be an essential class. Yeah. I will not comply in advance. Comply with what? Well, and everyone that's upset about the whole Firefox situation right now, the reality is, everything that you're complaining about with Firefox collecting data and all that can be turned off. Hell, when you set up your browser, anything. When you set up your browser, it actually asks you, do you want to enable a lot of these things? Starting security training soon. Any suggestions? Like cybersecurity training? Like, or do you mean like physical security? Like, that's a pretty broad statement. Oh, cybersecurity? Depends on what you're doing, but like everything in tech and everything, I tell people, home labbing, tinkering on your own is going to go much farther than just sitting down in the classroom and doing things. That's my 2 cents when it comes to things. Let's get back into fighting about VPNs. VPNs are one of the most overhyped technologies. Well, let me rephrase that. To the average person, VPNs are the most overhyped technology. In a corporate environment, they're great, but even VPNs in a corporate environment are starting to disappear in favor of zero trust network access. That's where I think I'm leaning more towards, because zero trust network access is the way I think a lot of people are going to be leaning. I personally like Zscaler. I know a lot of people complain about it, but I think a lot of that problem is a lot of people don't do the necessary research beforehand on their environments on what to do, and they go too hard, too soon, too fast on enabling everything. You don't do that. You need to take a measured approach. Like, if you are a substantially sized company, you're talking about probably phasing in different features every quarter with a build out of 2 to 3 years total. I know where I work, it took about 2-3 years. I think it was close to 3 years until we got to the point where everything worked well enough that we killed off Cisco AnyConnect VPN. We don't use Cisco AnyConnect anymore. We don't use VPNs at work with the exception of site-to-site tunnels and certain other things like that. But no, there's no client VPN on any person's device unless there's a very specific thing with a vendor. Given the imminent collapse of the economy, it would be wise to buy stock in ramen. Well, as my grandfather always used to say, may he rest in peace, in times of crisis, invest in metals, guns, and whiskey. That's what he was all about. And I'm going to say, Papa, I'm making you proud. I've thought about at least just buying a still to keep it off to the side. In case the worst shit happens, and, like, I don't think it's ever gonna get to that point. Oh yeah, we gotta get MREs, which, by the way, Costco has MREs. I found a 125 serving container for $64. And it had quite a few rations in there. So I was thinking of buying at least a few of those. Well, you can eat the gun, but only twice if you're a bad shot. I don't know why the fuck I just shake that. I was thinking it was juice for a second. But yeah, did you see that Tesla's stock dipped to 62? It dipped to $262 today before it started going back up. I think there's a lot of people understanding this might be the top, combined with a lot of copium. I found a YouTube video earlier today. A guy was talking about how it's the perfect time to buy a Tesla right now. And it was funny because this video had 42,000 views on it, but only a little more than 700 likes on it. I don't know about you, but that's significantly disproportionate. Because, you know, YouTube doesn't tell you how many people dislike a video anymore. You can see it on the creator side, but you can't see it there. And, yeah, like, there's people still shilling for Tesla and completely overlooked the glaring fact right now when he's like, oh, the Tesla's going to have a refresh and everything. I'm like, buddy, Tesla's declined in close to 50% in sales in Europe. They've declined, not as significantly in the U.S., but they've declined, what, 12, 15% in the U.S. or so? I know it was like close to 10% just in California. And people really don't like Elon Musk. And I will say this, as I said earlier. I actually just put this up on Blue Sky earlier. There are two types of people. Those who think Elon Musk is like Henry Ford, and those who think Elon Musk is like Henry Ford, but for very different reasons. What kind of metal precious or like steel or whatever bullets are made out of? So bullets or rounds for a firearm are made out of copper, lead, brass, the percussion cap, which has a little bit of mercury in there. But of course, you're probably not talking about that. And of course, you got smokeless powder inside of there, unless you want to go old-fashioned with black powder. So, yeah. In terms of metals, silver. Silver's always a great one to buy because it's very accessible for the average person to buy, and the price of silver's gone up quite a bit in the past few years. It's always good to at least buy a little bit of silver. Like, you can buy coins, what is it, about $30 right now? It's always at least a solid investment, in good times and bad. Go blunderbuss, shove anything in there. Oh my god! This reminds me! Have you seen Founders in... There's a meme, okay, so there's a meme that goes around, and this is very popular in, like, firearm circles. It's hilarious. Just as the founding fathers intended. Own a musket for home defense, since that's what the founding fathers intended. 4 ruffians break into the house. What the devil as I grab my powdered wig and Kentucky rifle, blow a golf ball-sized hole through the first man. He's dead on the spot. Draw my pistol on the second man. Miss him entirely because it's smoothbore and nails the neighbor's dog. I have to resort to the cannon mounted at the top of the stairs, loaded with grape shot. Tally-ho, lads! The grape shot shreds 2 men in the blast. The sound and shrapnel set off car alarms. Fix bayonet and charge the last terrified rapscallion. He bleeds out waiting on the police to arrive, since triangular bayonet wounds are impossible to stitch up, just as the founding fathers intended. That is one of my favorite memes that I have seen floating around over the many years, just because it's like so clever. And it's like, it's historically accurate. Have you seen that Firefox changed in their TOS? Yes, so I was talking about that a little bit on Blue Sky and Threads. I've also I'm working on a script to talk about this on YouTube a little bit more in depth. But the reality is, people are making much ado about nothing. Let me explain before you go, blah, 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 they're saying I'm selling data. You have to understand that for the average person, selling means that there is a monetary value. However, in many jurisdictions, selling doesn't actually imply there is an exchange for money. Selling, like even in the CCPA, the California, what does it stand for? California Consumer Protection Act or Privacy Act? One of the two. Either way, you get the idea. A CCPA is the equivalent to like GDPR. And I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe the GDPR is similar in this definition. But this is at least from the CCPA. The CCPA states that selling data could be as simple as sharing or exchanging data. Sharing or exchanging, not selling as in I give you, you give me money. That's totally different. That's where a lot of people were bending over backwards and getting a little bit crazy about it. And I had to check myself with a few lawyer friends. Because I'm like, okay, tell me what's this all about? And Mozilla wrote about it in their own blog post that this is what happened and, confirming what a few lawyers are telling me about. And words don't mean anything, apparently. Well, this is where legalese is a thing. This is why there's the whole meme around legalese and that, speaking in legal terms is another language. Selling doesn't necessarily mean selling because the law wrote it that way. They didn't make a qualification for, sharing, exchanging. They just define that as selling. Has the son of a lawyer fucklers. Yeah, but here's the reality. As much as you don't like him, if you're in cybersecurity, you're gonna want a lawyer. There's a lot of gray area we deal with. Trust me on that. And it always comes in handy to know my lawyer's number by heart. Not because I'm in a suing mood. And the lawyer I have, by the way, I used to do IT for them. They're great. That's how I knew them. Circa Clinton era. Depends on what the definition of is. So, California is corrupt. Really? That's not even the correct statement there. You're just going to say, well, a state's corrupt. I don't think you actually understand what corruption is. You want to see corruption? Let's talk about the fact that the FAA just reneged on a $2.4 billion contract with the Verizon and then handed that over to Elon Musk. Starlink. Now that's corruption. California politics. In the grand scheme of things, I'd say we have a bigger issue with corruption in the federal administration that we have. California at least has more civil protection laws in terms of, consumer protection laws. Do I agree with everything California does? No. There's no way to completely agree with every government. But just because you don't agree with someone's policies and politics doesn't make them corrupt. I know I don't know my stuff, but being confronted by that fills me with rage. Well, see, that's the problem is you have a lot of people. Well, so the reality is Mozilla had to release a privacy policy. It was a requirement, unfortunately, because a lot of jurisdictions require that if you're transmitting any data. Let me make that very clear. Any data. What I mean by that is, as I mentioned earlier, Steam, they do their Steam surveys, where they grab hardware data and all that. I think it's voluntary, though. That requires a policy. Firefox. You might be sending a little bit of telemetry to them. Again, Firefox is completely optional. They need a privacy policy because of legal laws all around the world. It's a stupid thing, but it is. Someone not going to say anything legally culpable, but someone. So, yeah. Oh, I also caught, if Tesla puts in bi-directional charging and I got the money, I'm going Tesla. I wouldn't touch Tesla with a 10-foot pole. Their cars have depreciated so fast in value, they have quality control issues, and they don't even have freaking sensors beyond cameras. He's like fought tooth and claw against like LiDAR and shit like that. What's up, Jessica? And the problem is that with an EV, you need more than eyesight. And by the way, what is with a lot of these, they have airbag issues? Really? Did not know that. But I know from being in Teslas multiple times, almost every time I have been in a Tesla with someone, there has been an issue. And I don't mean like a slight issue. One of my, and the funny thing is, do you ever notice that Tesla fanboys cope with this shit and say, no, they fixed that issue. They fixed that issue. I've literally been in a car going to lunch and, my coworker's car just suddenly can't decide, with the supervised driving, whatever the hell they want to call it, it's going to make left. It can't figure out where the left-hand turn lane is, so it literally, instead of just, like, giving a little issue and saying, like, it needs direction, it literally does this in the middle of the road. So, like, we almost hit another car, and he had to take over. Or there was the time that it literally almost ran into the gate at work. That was fun. I wasn't in the car at that time. My other coworker was with that coworker. We had the time where, it's just like, yeah. But yeah, it's just one of those, like, I'll be honest, I want a Xiaomi SU7. I want a BYD Auto 3. Give me a BYD. Give me a Xiaomi. I'll drive those all day long. Never fucking Tesla. And to make this very clear, I don't like the Volkswagen ones, the BMWs, all these other EV cars that everyone else is making. They're a little bit too expensive. They've been suing people talking about the airbag issues. Interesting. Do you think Doge will also attack projects that are not getting funding from the government? Doge will attack everything and anything, but the reality is they're only going after the things that Elon Musk seems to have issues with. And I have said it before, and I will say it again. Why would your first target be U.S. aid, which is 0.5% of the budget, and feed a lot of this BS things about, like, they're giving condoms in Gaza for $50 million. No, it wasn't. And it wasn't even Gaza in, the Palestinian territories. Apparently it was Mozambique. Or the fact that they couldn't even read a spreadsheet and, like, said a contract was worth $8 billion when it was really $8 million. You can easily tell they don't understand COBOL because they were saying they're people that are 150 years on Social Security, because COBOL with the zero defaults to 1875. Recently, he's made claims about how there's duplicate Social Security numbers and SQL tables and that it hasn't been deduplicated, but anyone will tell you there's a difference between deduplication and normalization of a database. But then again, we're talking about the same guy that his own finance product, the original X.com, ended up being able to send people money just by having an account number, like without any authorization. It was very insecure before it got bought out by PayPal or merged with PayPal. One of the two. I don't know. I don't remember the specifics. You should run for president. Fuck that. I ain't a rich man. Maybe one day I'll throw my hat into being a representative or a senator, but I doubt it. The problem is, I would be censured so fast. Censured, not censored. Censured. Because I would be on Congress and I'd be going, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, I'm out. You know, like how I'd be ending my speeches. I would be the one dude. And then, like, here's the funny thing. I don't know how Congress is going to like when if I walked in with a T-shirt with different tech companies on it. Like, you're sponsored by this company. No, they just send me T-shirts. Are you from America? Unfortunately. Even Markiplier spoke against Tesla. It takes a lot for Markiplier to speak against anything, because I haven't watched him much, but he seems like a chill dude. Speculator, got an IT job. Mazel tov! Hold on. Mazel tov. You think politics and politicians work, but they don't. I want you to do a search right now to figure out why that is. Go look up the average age of your politician in the federal government. I'll wait. Did you find the answer? That's why. There's not a there's like only one Gen Z person, from what I recall. There's barely any millennials. You barely even have Gen X representation. You have Boomer, and you still have fucking silent generation people in there. That's the problem. It's tier 1 tech, but it's a foot in the door. That's how we all start. Look. We all start in the bitch seat at one point. But yeah. Congratulations on getting your foot in the door. I'm sure you're going to do amazingly well. It's going to suck in the beginning, because you're going to be like, I want to do more. Give me more responsibility. Pay me more money. Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. But you are not going to be able to out the door. But you pay your dues 2-3 years in, you can probably be to at least starting to see where you want to be. But it's a nice start. So, mazel tov to you, buddy. Like the Drake song, started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. By the way, just to make this very clear, not that much of a Drake fan. He's got a couple of good songs. More of a Kendrick guy. Although, did you see that, like, apparently Drake is, like, switching genres or something? So we had Eminem mess up MGK so hard, he switched to punk rock. Now we have, what's his face? Drake get bitch slapped so hard by Kendrick that he's apparently shifted into, like, love songs or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Like, what the hell, man? He should have stuck to Degrassi. Yes. I'm a head down, grind, volunteer to help with everything I can and learn from as many people as I can. That's great, but also, pro tip, don't let people take advantage of you. People will take advantage of you, and learn to set boundaries, not just between, the work-life balance, but at work too. Because people will treat you like a doormat. I started my career sleeping on the floor literally and using a camping chair. It was worth it. Yeah. But mazel tov, just make sure it's going to take you time until you get your chops and everything. But, yeah. Chief preaching tonight. In the name of, hold on 1 second. Let me think of some names here. In the name of Stallman, Lunduk, Gates, and Mitnick, we bless you on your journey. You know, some of you are going to hate me for mentioning some of those names, but look, okay? Going to keep you updated, man. You've been a big motivation. That's awesome, dude. I love to hear this shit. It's so interesting to see how I started out with just a fucking phone on TikTok, being bored and just talking about my tech stuff, and then being like, nobody's going to care about this shit, and here I am making content and everything. I don't think I'm ever going to go for the full-time content creation gig of things because I like tinkering, I like building, I like, you know, my career and everything. But I do like going out here to teach, educate, inspire, give my opinions as a professional in the field and everything. But yeah, I would love to see, you know, your journey. And, you know, it's awesome to hear these stories from people that are like, yeah, I've been watching you for years. Now I'm in tech. And, you know, because like a lot of the people that, you know, first started watching me, I really only figured out like a few months ago when they started watching me. They were maybe, because it was TikTok, middle school, high school, maybe early college. And now I've been doing content so long that these are the people that are coming out into the workforce right now. It's a really interesting feeling. Thoughts on Mozilla TOS? You'd have a video on it. I was just talking about it. I'm going to have a YouTube video about it later. I have the script drafted up. I just haven't been around, sat down to record it yet because I just wrote the script during some downtime at work. Used LLM, ChatGPT 4.0 to at least brush it up, you know, clean up some of the language and stuff like that. So hopefully I will have that up next weekend. No, not next weekend. Next week at latest. I just got to sit down and record it. I might record it Saturday and then get around to editing it. The beauty of like now adding this teleprompter here with the Sony ZVE camera behind it is I feel a little bit more confident after practicing a couple of test speeches and stuff like that, to be able to plan out what I want to say in a video. Because I don't know if y'all have realized this, but my TikToks, my YouTube videos, my Twitches, they're not really planned out. It's more or less just a general idea of what I'm going to do, and then I just hit record and do the thing. So, yeah. Are you a network engineer? No, I'm not a network engineer. I'm in cybersecurity. I'm a cybersecurity engineer. Is the cybersecurity job market saturated? How hard is it to break into 2025 still worth? I wouldn't say it's saturated per se. At the entry level, it is saturated because there's a lot of people that are trying to go directly into cybersecurity without any core conceptual knowledge underlying it. A lot of people have the misconception that, let me explain this. Cybersecurity is a field unto itself, separate from IT. But at the same time, it relies on it. So, like, think about it this way. It's kind of like a specialization in terms of, like, you're a medical doctor. You become a GP, you get to do a lot of the different things, then you specialize. Oncology or, cardiology, a lot of different things there. It's not really the same, but it's the best analogy I can come up with. And you can't just jump into, in most cases, being a cardiologist or being an oncologist. You've got to build up towards that. And the problem that I see is you have a lot of people that are jumping straight from not having any job experience or, field experience or that in the field to wanting to go into cybersecurity and thinking you're going to get straight into cybersecurity as an engineer, where you got to, build up towards it. The easiest way I tell a lot of people is start at the bottom rungs of IT, and then you can build up to it. And you can also make yourself heavily in debt just thinking you're going to go to school for cybersecurity, because here's the harsh truth. School is not going to prepare you entirely for what the field requires. It's going to teach you a lot of concepts, but a lot of those concepts you can learn in this field too. And there's not as much of a requirement for college degrees anymore. So many classroom cybersec people. Yeah, and the what's my specialty? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm on kind of all over the place. Like today, I was dealing with the email security gateway. I was dealing with CrowdStrike. I was dealing with Zscaler. I was dealing with quite a few things. I started out doing networking for small to medium enterprises with WatchGuard, with Unify, with Sophos, with PF Sense in my own home lab here, and I've done it in a few different businesses. I've dealt with a few different things. Back when I was in the MSP world, I was even dealing with identity providers, whether it be Microsoft Entra, which I only barely touched, but I was more into the jump cloud space. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. IT networking should have been treated like a trade. It is starting to be more treated like a trade, especially now that the U.S. government has dropped the requirement for degrees for a lot of their jobs. And yeah, that has also rippled throughout the industry because I'm starting to see a lot of job postings not require it. It's, like college degree or equivalent experience kind of thing. And the beauty of, I think, in cybersecurity and a lot of parts of tech is that you can gain the skills through home labbing. Not necessarily to translate entirely to an enterprise, but you'll have the core conceptual knowledge. Yeah. What if a developer wants to switch to cybersecurity? Do you think it's feasible? It is. But I will note that one of the biggest issues I have with developers, this is not by any means trying to dissuade you, is developers, in my experience, most developers don't know shit about how a computer actually operates. You know code, you know how to make your code work, you know about databases, but you fall flat on your face on cryptography, you fall flat on your face on networking, you fall flat on face with even how a computer operates and how the different systems, interact with each other outside of a coding framework. Once it leaves even infrastructure as code, you don't know anything about it. That's the issue that I find that you have to overcome. There is a huge market, though, for software developers that can secure the coding environments. Using things like stick.io, using things like Veracode, having your own local repositories so you can cache the plugins and stuff, locking down the requirements for different plugins in your repositories. And there's all different sorts of ways to do this, as well as the interaction of the backend systems to make it work with a SIM, system information event monitoring system. So like you can play around with things like Waza. But of course there's the big boys, enterprise systems like CrowdStrike has their own SIM. You've got Datadog. You've got many different systems out there. Hell, I'm even talking about, there's even Grafana, which this is the logo for them. They do dashboards, and you can integrate a lot of your different systems. So, yeah, absolutely. And if I can actually make a case based on my experience, there is a lot of people looking for people who know how to secure software environments in cybersecurity, and that is a gap that I have seen quite a lot. So, yeah, you can go from developer to cybersecurity. Doesn't mean you have to do cybersecurity in terms of what I'm doing or networking. You could fill a whole other part of of software security. That could be, making sure software is developed in secure methods. That could be that it is deployed in secure methods. That it is, terraformed or, Dockerized and all this different stuff. There's software architects out there that, Would you still recommend getting into the field for someone looking to make a career change at 30? You can make a career change at any, point in your life. It's just going to require work and effort. That's all that, it comes down to. What's up, Woolix? How you been, buddy? I don't think I've seen you on in a minute. So you're in-house cybersec for a small form, medium place. More medium to large. Degrees teach conceptual, fundamental, and I am just starting my master's, and it's a lot of theory, not a lot of practical application. See, that's the issue. And here's the thing, I will say, is that is the huge jump, and that is the hardest problem for a lot of people that come out of college to understand. I don't care if you got A's in your class. You still don't know shit. I'm just being honest. You need to eat a piece of humble pie and realize the classroom didn't prepare you for the real world. It prepared you for theory of things. It didn't prepare you for how things are going to be done. And to add insult to injury, by the time you're learning things from a textbook, it's 3 to 5 years out of date often. That's how long it takes to cycle into a book. And it's a continual process of educating yourself. Like I tell people, you're probably going to have to spend 10 or so or more hours per week outside of work to improve your craft. And that doesn't mean that's all just tinkering and everything. That includes reading the news, staying on top of, different videos of, things that are coming out, going through GitHub, finding the new projects and all that. Would that be a humble Raspberry Pi? Clever. Forgot to mention to y'all, my new laptop. The new laptop that, I should be able to do mobile editing and all that on my Linux laptop should be here tomorrow. Should be. It's being shipped from Germany. Let me check the, update on that, because I saw that it was shipped from Cologne. Let me open my shipping tracker. Yep. It's officially arrived in the US. It's doing the import scan. They say it should arrive tomorrow. I don't know how it's going to arrive, knowing where it landed. Maybe they're doing an overnight thing, so it might be here Thursday. We'll see. Darknet Diaries. Yeah, Darknet Diaries, totally. Totally worth it. Hold on, make sure. Oh, wait, you can't see it. Hold up. Switching to the other camera. Haha. I love the fact that I got a camera on a gimbal. Yeah, see? I picked up that sticker at DEF CON. Yeah, I got a new mic arm because I got tired of this dropping down. So, it felt a little too bland. Also, I love the fact that you can actually tell the difference between which camera. Like, don't get me wrong, this camera, good quality. OBS bot, tiny too. Then you go back to the Sony ZV-E10, and it's like, ba-bam! My shirt is black! It's black like my soul. Surprised you haven't built in extras considering your setup. What do you mean built-in extras? That sounds exhausting if you're not deeply passionate about it. Well, the honest truth is, I tell people, IT and cybersecurity is not really the kind of job that you can punch in and punch out. Even if you're doing software, any part of IT, you have to be willing to unlearn what you have learned. We go through education cycles. I'd say we're probably anywhere about every 5 years. We have to completely rethink some aspect of IT or cybersecurity. There's a paradigm shift. Like, let me put you in the perspective for y'all. 5 years ago, I barely knew anyone that had a YubiKey or any hardware security key. 5 years ago. Now I know so many people that have them. They were like this concept of, we're probably going to use it. We were on multi-factor authentication apps. And probably push notification only really started becoming more of a thing around that time too. 5 years before that, we were on SMS MFA. And we also didn't really have much of the identity provider, IDP, in terms of like SAML and OICD. These were things that are still relatively new and starting to become standard. Security assertion markup language and open identity connection. I forget what OICD stands for. But anyway, it allows you to have your app authenticate into a central identity provider, so you only have to enter your password once for single sign-on SSO. So that's your Okta, your Duo, your Microsoft Entra, your Jump Cloud. I feel like I'm forgetting one or two. There's a few others out there. But yeah. InfluxDB or ClickHouse. I haven't played with ClickHouse or really heard of it much. I've been doing InfluxDB for like my Grafana stuff here and there. You want me to call my dogs Willix? Ari, Barack. OIDC is OpenID Connect. Okay. I remember. I always mess up on that one. Yalla, buena. Ari, Barack. Outside. Might be outside. Built on OAuth. Yeah. I've used it for a few things. Like, I use OIDC only in, Spacelift. Spacelift.io. I've been playing with the little infrastructure as code. I haven't done it in a few months, though, but need to get back. My biggest pet peeve is when people lump the two together, though. Lump two, what? Like OIDC and SAML, or SSO and SAML, or like what? Like a rolling text bar or something with Node.js. Wait, what? I bought license for Threema yesterday. Wait, Threema costs money? Wait, what? You have to spend money on Threema? You. So I just gotta ask the question here. If Threema is like the idea of being secure and really private, wouldn't your actual login, like your payment information, would de-anonymize you? Would it not? Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? I mean, yeah, I know they have the option down here, it looks like, to pay for Bitcoin and shit, but, pay with Bitcoin and shit. But Bitcoin is pseudo-anonymous. There's not even a Monero option. But even then, like, it's weird. I don't know. And I think that's going to be a barrier to getting Threema to actually have wide acceptance. That's why when everybody asks me, like, why do you recommend Signal? I'm like, well, it's been audited. It's been, verified in so many different ways. It's relatively open source. And most people are there. You can pay with cash, too. I want you to put this into perspective, though. If most people are just going to an app store, this is the short-sightedness of doing payments like this. Most people buy their applications through an app store. So if your friend tells you to download Threema, where are you going to go for your phone? The average person's going to go to the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, to download an application. Let me say Threema open source too. They may be open source, but then the issue that I have is why? Like, it should be a whole, like, voluntary to do it. I don't know. There's just things that make me scratch my head. Auth-C versus Auth-Z, the OIDC versus OAuth. Oh, yeah. I haven't gotten too deep in identity and access management. I mostly just use SAML for my little home lab tinkering and stuff like that. I don't have much there. So, I haven't gotten too deep into it. I haven't done OIDC that much. Also, can we talk about the fact that I really hate the fact that we have paywalled security? Security, this is where I hold the task companies that say, we care about your security. Really? Then don't upcharge me for a fucking enterprise plan so that I can use my damn Slack with a SAML authentication, or Notion with a SAML authentication, or Atlassian and your fucking bullshit scheme of charging me, not just having to pay for Jira Standard and Confluence Standard, but then I have to pay for your fucking SAML connection thing for an extra money on top of that. I shouldn't have to pay extra for, security. That, if you say security is important to you, that should be the standard. It's bullshit. Because do you know how many times I remember in MSP, this is part of what made me leave, was companies were like, we want to be more secure, we want to be more compliant. And then I'd say, that's going to require a little bit more money. Why? Well, you need to do identity and access management and tie it back to an SSO, either with SAML or OICD or OIDC. However you frickin' say it, OIDC. And then, it's like, okay, great. How much is it going to cost? And then it's like, you look at every app and it's like, yeah, it's going to cost you anywhere from $3 to $15 per user more per app. Expensive. It's bullshit. And I don't like it. Did my comment post Ubuntu Touch thoughts? Ubuntu Touch, for some reason, makes me think of P. Diddy. I have no clue why. Because it's like disturbing touches. That'll be 500 for weird mental associations, Alex. One of our IGA platforms ticks me off for charging ridiculous amounts of money to just learn on their system. Wait, what? Yeah, and the company I work for is paying out the ass in terms of all the things we're doing for security and compliance. It's great that they're doing it, but I don't like the fact that we have to shell out extra money for a lot of these things. Because, it gets into stupid things about how we have to pay for license, and then it's like, does this person actually need the thing, or, not? Which, by the way, Ari, Barack, Puppers, they must be outside. Why can't it be in-house? Do you know how much money you're going to have to spend to have, all the applications in-house? I want you to think about this. You got your Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace, and then you have, that on top of you have your Atlassian apps or, whatever app you're using there. You have, your chart. I want you to think about every single app you use from a different vendor from a business. Okay? Your VPN or Zero Trust Network Access, if you're preferably going that route. I want you to think about every single app. Now, remember, you have to have a password for every single app there. You have the average end user, which, with all due respect, is dumb when it comes to computers. Not saying it to be insulting. We know it's true. We all deal with the tickets. Most of us in the chat here work in tech. The amount of times IT has to deal with password resets because people put in the wrong password and then locks their system out. I'm not saying that to, say people are dumb. It's just most people are not that smart with computers. It's just the reality of things. And now you have to have every single password and everything for that. Now you have to maintain that. Now you decide to make an in-house IDP solution. Identity provider. Crives and ServiceNow queue. I'm actually glad we got rid of ServiceNow and we went to Jira. I kind of like Jira a little bit better than ServiceNow. No, actually quite a lot better. We actually started calling it Service eventually because that thing was so slow. And ServiceNow did us dirty because originally it used to be, oh, you can host your own ServiceNow instance and, you can make it as extensible as you want. Well, here's the problem with that. And going back to the person, like, why don't you do it in-house? We made a lot of extensions in-house for ServiceNow. That bit us in the butt because eventually that knowledge left the company. So we couldn't maintain the plugins. And we couldn't move ServiceNow to the cloud version to be better maintained and, not have to rely on it as much and not have to expend people's time and energy and thus money on the employee to maintain this system so they could actually focus on their damn job they're supposed to be doing. And we couldn't do it because of the extensions, and it would break a lot of things moving it over. So we just moved to Jira. I love Jira. I call ServiceNow Service Later. Yep. We call it Service eventually. Service Later, I've heard that too. Jira is really great. I love Jira. I would use Jira in my own home lab, but the only thing I hate about it is they nickel and dime you, which that's the only reason I use Notion in my home lab. I like Confluence. I like Jira. You may think lesser of me for it, but I like both of those products better than Notion. Notion is great for a small business. Don't get me wrong. You have a small team, a small business, but the second you start growing past, I'd say 25, 50 people, get something else. Go to Jira. I played with Jira some in class. It seems super easy to use. Oh, it's absolutely super easy. And it's designed around, you can do ITIL with it, but it's mostly focused towards agile, which is where a lot of the industry is going towards in terms of workflow. ServiceNow definitely leans towards ITIL. Best part, Jira and Confluence are so great in metrics the more you feed in. Oh, not only that, you can take your Confluence articles and link them into your Jira or vice versa. It's seamless in the way a lot of this works together. There's just the corporate speak ahead synergy. I like the synergy. It's huge. The labor alone to properly administer each section. Yeah, you will spend way more money in-house building. Yeah, absolutely. To give you an idea, the company I work for, we have several thousand employees. The entire IT department, though, and this is for building the internal apps, building the client-facing apps, the infrastructure behind it, is about, I'd say, 250 people. Maybe more, give or take. I don't know the exact number, but every time we have the company-wide meetings with IT and cyber, it feels like there's 250, 300 people there to service several thousand people. Cybersecurity is probably 40 of us. To give you an idea. And you could have a company. Now, of course, we're growing, so we need more people to handle a lot of the operational tasks and everything. But in terms of, you can be lean, mean, and scrappy because you don't have to worry about infrastructure. The fact that we haven't had to deal with Cisco AnyConnect as much because you deploy a Zscaler Zero Trust, a Zscaler private access connector instead of a Cisco AnyConnect, Zscaler now maintains it. We just have to make sure the thing is deployed and that it's updated. We don't have to deal with a lot of the day-to-day BS that we had to when we had to maintain our own systems. It's great. Like, to give you an example, I spent a few weeks trying to code an automation in CrowdStrike that eventually would go to Tenable that would also go to Datadog. So what it would do is it would find devices that were not on for at least 30 days, just have not, connected to CrowdStrike in 30 days. So the device is pretty much off in that case because we do posture checks. And if it doesn't see them in 30 days, it will quarantine contain the device. So that device can't connect in. They have to call it back to service desk, get the laptop turned back on. This doesn't really affect most people that are on PTO unless there's like maternity leave or family medical leave or whatever. But it's, you're closing a risk. Now what we would do is we would take that data from the devices that were contained, feed it into Tenable, and then remove them from Tenable, so that way IT wouldn't get pinged for the vulnerabilities that they would have had to fix, and it helps them with their metrics and everything too. Then what it would do is it would take all of that data and feed it into Datadog, where I had some nice dashboards. Why did I do it this way? Because CrowdStrike Fusion didn't have a not statement. It could look for if a device was on for 30 days, but it couldn't look for a device that was not on for 30 days. Does that make sense? So I had to spend several weeks to do this. Now, CrowdStrike Fusion finally did the feature enhancement to do the thing and everything, that we can move everything into the workflow. So I now can remove the AWS, not EC2, Lambda, that I had built out to do all of this. And it took a lot less time to put that together in a Fusion workflow. Now, the other nice thing is I don't have to maintain it. I just have to make sure the thing ran, and if it doesn't, then I contact CrowdStrike, and I get right back to my damn job. So, man, I got ignored by Chief. No, I just went on a tangent. Not ignoring you, it's just got into a moment. Thanks for the follow, Chuck Better. How long does it take to learn Zendesk and Okta and Jamf Pro for free? I don't think you're going to get Jamf Pro for free to be able to tinker with it. I haven't honestly dealt much with Zendesk. Hey, Seekne, how you doing? I haven't done much with Zendesk. Okta is not free. That's just the plain honest truth. Here's what I will tell you. Also, SaaS means reduction in liability and cyber insurance. This too. At the end of the day, it's about reliability. And it's better to pay a company a service fee to do the thing for you. Service tomorrow. Okta just redid their learning terminal. A learning portal. Oh, nice. Okta gives you a 30-day license. They do, but 30 days is not a whole lot. And this is honestly where I point a lot of people when they start out. Now, it's a bummer they no longer give you the 10 free users and 10 free devices free forever plan. The reason for that, I found out, was people were compromising systems and then would replace the IDP of Okta or whatever with JumpCloud. But overall, $19 a user a month. I mean, $22 if you pay monthly. This is JumpCloud. So, I play with this quite a bit. And then you can do device management or just straight SSO. You can do the core directory. So this way you don't have to, mess with Active Directory, all that. Kind of gives you, like, a lot of the cloud-like experience. So, it's an option. I really want to find a home lab IDP. JumpCloud fits that bill, but I'm also grandfathered into their 10 free devices and users free forever plan. They stopped that in February of last year, I found out. You can sign up now without being a customer. Interesting. I don't know if I'd switch from Okta. I kind of like Duo a little bit better. That's just me. But it's not that I have anything against Okta. It is a good solution, especially in a hybrid environment. There are also other home lab IDPs. There's some ones you can spin up yourself. Hold on. Open source IDP. There was one I came into a little while ago. If I can maybe find it. There's, yeah, OpenIM, I think, was the one I was looking at. And then there's also, Fusion Auth. I think I ran into them actually at Web Summit. But the other interesting thing is privileged access management is where a lot of people need to look at things. Yeah, Okta workflows are nice, but yeah, it really, like you said, Jessica, it depends on your use case. Absolutely. I will not dispute you on that. For a home lab solution, I think JumpCloud's kind of nice. Yes, it's a little bit expensive. I won't lie there. Microsoft Office 365 is actually probably, I think, one of the most cost-effective IDPs. Yes, it's Microsoft, but here's the reality. From what I've experienced, most enterprises, in terms of IDP, now y'all can, tell me otherwise, tend to lean towards Okta or Microsoft Entra now. There are solutions out there. So yeah, there is Microsoft Entra. TerraMe Identity Provider. Never heard of that. Oh, Identity. Oh yeah. Oh, TerraMe was asking that. Thanks for answering that, Seeknay. Yeah, right for most cost effective. Yeah. If you're strapped in terms of money, Microsoft 365 is probably going to be the most cost-effective. And to make this very clear, a lot of people don't realize this, and this is part of Microsoft's own fault for doing this. Microsoft 365 has a consumer side and a business enterprise side. So when you go to get Microsoft 365, making sure I'm not logged in. Okay, cool. If we go to products, you see, they have for home, you're going to want to go pricing for business. Now, you can go with the... Really, Microsoft? I gotta be a dick. Are you being a dick, really? Hold on. I think I know what it is. Add something in the background. Let's try this again. Nope, now it's not loading. Give it a sec. Oh, there we go. Switching back. Okay. So, this is Microsoft 365 for business. Now, they have the home plan. Screw that. Go for business. You can get the basic plan here. $6 per user per month. It's basic. You can do better in terms of the higher end plans, but this is good to get you in the door. And by the way, this is the plan for up to 300 users. So this can do your identity access management. You can have your custom email for your business and, 1 terabyte of OneDrive, cloud storage, all of that. So it's a really great cost-effective solution. $6 per user per month. If you pay monthly, it's $7.20. But there's a way you can actually do the monthly annual plan. You just sign up and pay monthly. And don't buy it through resellers. Buy it direct through Microsoft. You'll save yourself a lot of hassle. You can get the better plans as well. So this one here, the 1250 plan, all this does is gives you the local Microsoft 365 apps. Office, sorry. So if you are a person that does use the local Microsoft Office applications, which I'm going to break it to you guys, if you're in a business, you want to lean more towards that than you do LibreOffice in most cases. Look, I love LibreOffice, don't get me wrong, but LibreOffice Calc pales in comparison to Excel, just straight out. Trust me on that. And then, of course, you have the Business Premium over here, which just gives you better identity and access management. And this is more just giving you cybersecurity as well as DLP capabilities, which is more important when you're trying to look towards compliance and everything. Now, whether you go with Google or Microsoft, they both have the thing where you can only use those specific plans for up to 300 people. Now, let me make this very clear. Google is an absolute nickel and dime bitch, and I do not like working with them for multiple reasons. I prefer Microsoft. And let me make this very clear. Linux guy, say Microsoft good. So, understand the gravity of what I'm saying there. Google is a pain in the ass to deal with. Here's the reality of how Google in Workspace really feels like. It feels like they took a consumer product, slapped some corporate features on it that, businesses were looking at, and it's such a fractured ecosystem. Because let me put it this way. If you need, people don't like Microsoft Teams, but here's the thing. You got Teams included with Microsoft 365. You can do your calls and meetings and everything. You've got your, ability to use Teams to share documents and everything. It works pretty well for what it is. Google, what are you going to be doing? You're going to buy Slack. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have to go buy the Slack license. Because I know a lot of you are like, well, Slack is free. There's a reason why you pay for it in business. So, I want to make this very clear. Oh, they finally changed that. So they finally do add SAML-based single sign-on for... Wait, why is this, selectable? Anyway, they finally do have... Here's the thing I'm really curious about. Why does it check off HIPAA-compliant message? I'm really curious. This makes it kind of sus that they're like, yeah, you can do all this stuff here. Then you go to here. Like, you see how it's, letting you click more things? Wait a minute. I wonder. But anyway, I'll have to look more. Ah, there we are. Here are the actual features. I hate when they do shit like that. Just give me this shit. Yeah, see? That's what I was talking about. See? Your free plan doesn't have SAML. So this is bullshit. This is confusing. Okay, so you don't have SAML. So now you got to pay for the Business Plus plan, which is $15 per user per month to get SAML. Unless you want your user to log in differently. But then you can't do IDP groups and all this other stuff you're going to want on the enterprise level, which is included in Microsoft Teams at the basic level. Wait, what? It depends on... God damn it. Did my chat just... 1 second. I just noticed that my... Hey, what's up, 1012? Hold on 1 second. My chat just messed up, and I was wondering why no chat was coming through for a second. I am sorry if I missed a few messages. Let's try reloading this. I probably just need to update the plugin. I'll do that after stream, because it's a little bit of a hassle. Okay, so let me just manually look up what's been going on in the chat. I've seen some licenses at $15 per user, and many bought through reseller, and then it is sold by the company to someone else within a... Yep, I've seen that too. I've seen that absolutely as well. 1 second. I am catching up on all the messages that should have come through. Huge fan of Microsoft. Hello. Can you send that in Discord? I can ask my rep. Send you what? Don't know what you're asking for, Jessica. It's like looking for an online recipe and reading someone else's whole life story. Been using Linux as my daily driver for the past month. Mazel tov. Probably taken a while to get used to it. It's a different way of thinking of different things. Don't forget the fine print of charging for reporting by the gigabyte, which is easy to add up. Oh, yes! Definitely. If it ain't free, I ain't touching it. Well, that's going to lead to a lot of problems when you're dating life, just saying. I'm just saying. Dinners are expensive. Okay, so let me check the TikTok chat that I missed through. I lost a lot of the TikTok chat. Oh, sorry about that. Thoughts on Zima Blade? Haven't paid for it. Played with it. How would you secure a network hosting 10 sites on Nginx? There's a lot that goes into that, so the first thing I would do is try to move it out of my responsibility. The second thing I would do is, if I can't do that, I would move it to, the HIPAA compliance thing. Okay. Yeah, cool. We'll get back to this in a second. But, did you play Red Dead Redemption? I played Red Dead Redemption too. So, secure network hosting, 10 sites on Nginx. Well, Nginx, you have to do a lot of different things to secure it. I haven't touched Nginx in a couple years. It's fun to play with. I like it over Apache. Don't have to do as many plugins and all that. But with Nginx, you're going to want to get a web application firewall in front of it, ideally. Not to mention the system hardenings you normally want to do in a system as well. And of course, you're going to want to set up some kind of a tripwire or something so you can see when files are modified. Honeypot, Honeynet. So what I would do is web application firewall, set up some kind of a honeypot or honeynet around that to point people, hey, Barack, called you like half an hour ago, buddy. Hey, that good boy. You've got a leaf on your face, buddy. Should have named you Velcro. But everything's sick to ya. Hey, that good dog. Hey, I gotta get your nails done. Chev. Good boy. All right, Chev. Lamala. Good. Kaspersky good? It depends on who you ask. I'm generally not a real big fan of it, not because there's any major issue with it, but I've just not liked it. I'm more of a CrowdStrike and Bitdefender guy. But oh yeah, where are we going? Nginx. So you're gonna need WAF, web application firewall, like Cloudflare, CloudFront, whatever, something in front of that. And then of course the typical Linux system hardenings and things like that. The main idea is to just have that in front of something to hit the a lot of the main security and stuff through there. My dog hates when I have to trim his nails. Oh yeah. Yeah, I take him to a place to get that done because my dogs don't let me do it. And they don't even try the buffer nail thing. No. Bitdefender's nice. I liked Bitdefender Gravity Zone. I have Bitdefender on the Windows box that runs the streaming and everything. So the funny reason why I actually installed Bitdefender on this machine wasn't because I was pissed off at, I was like, oh, I gotta buy paid for antivirus. I had an issue with Microsoft Defender that was killing OBS, and it thought OBS was malware. Bitdefender didn't. So I put the 30-day trial of Bitdefender on, and it fixed my problem because it disables Defender. Because I'm not going to be that asshole that's going to, I'm just going to disable Defender so I can get my thing working. I still want security. It's against my ethos to have a naked system. It's like running backwards in naked in a cornfield. It's not a comfortable feeling. there was a lot of alcohol involved in that story. Isn't MS Defender going away? I don't think it's going away. I haven't heard anything about that. But yeah, let's see. Back to the Slack thing. Okay, so Slack. You don't get SAML-based sign-on until you pay $15 a month for it. Integration with Enterprise Mobility Management. Oh, you can't even integrate it with AirWatch. Ew. That's going to be a problem with people that want to do mobile device management with MDM and stuff like that. Can't do IDP groups. Support for HIPAA compliance. Can't do it until you buy Enterprise Grid. Wow. And I want you to understand, everything I'm basically calling out, a lot of this is in the base version of Microsoft Teams. Legal holds. Okay, that I think is litigation holds. I think that is... Hold on. I want to say that you have to pay for the premium plan here to get that. But the fact that you can't do it until you're an Enterprise Grid, and we're already talking about $15 per user per month, they gotta be charging you out the ass for that. Only got one workspace. That's gotta be annoying. You can't even do skim provisioning until you get Business Plus. MS Defender is getting rid of a VPN feature. They had a VPN feature? Not sure if you remember me, but back in the day, I was known as Chalky. Used to be on lives all the time. You came across my TikTok yesterday. I thought I'd stop in. I think I remember you. Been a minute. How you doing, bud? Domain claiming? What's this? Your company owns or operates under multiple web domains. Slack can help you claim them. That's interesting. But yeah, like a lot of the features a business generally wants, you're now going to have to pay an extra $15 per user per month. So I want you to understand, when I say nickel and diming, let's go back to Google Workspace. How's stuff been for you? It's been a while. It's been pretty good. Google Workspace pricing. Compare flexible plan pricing options. Okay. Business starter is $7 per month. Hey, thank you for the follow, Jesse. So you get $7 a month. Now I want to note this. Out the gate, you get 30 gigabytes of pooled storage per user. Now this is how effed up Google is with this. I want you to understand. This is one thing I hate about them. That 30 gigabytes, or in the case of like standard or whatever, 2 terabyte, 5 terabyte, that's the total space you're allowed for Google Docs, your email, like your everything you're storing. Whereas Microsoft 365, you get 1 terabyte of OneDrive, but you get 50 gigabytes of email space and another 50 gigabytes of archive, if I recall correctly, on the base plans. You can get up to 100 on the higher end plans. And then you get additional shared mailboxes, which each one of those can give you 50 gigabytes. And the cool thing about shared mailboxes in Microsoft is they don't cost you extra money, but you do have to have licensed users to be able to hook them into. And last I remember, Google charges you for shared mailboxes as an additional license. Like I said, nickel and diming with Google. Now, let's say you want to do, let's see, appointment booking pages. I'm pretty sure Microsoft has that built in with bookings. Do they not show bookings anymore? I might have to look into that later. Anyway, the point I'm making here is $7 a user a month, but then you're going to be looking at, I don't know, does this let you do IDP? I don't know if Google lets you do IDP at this plan. Hold on. Yeah. This is what gets annoying for me. You can't really dive into Google as well as I would like. But the point that I was trying to make is that Google nickel and dimes you, and it becomes more expensive. And if your argument for using Google is, I like Google Gmail, well, I got a reality check for you. And I know some people are going to fight me on this. Microsoft Outlook is better than webmail. Fight me! I would rather use Mozilla Thunderbird with Microsoft 365 than I would use Google Webmail. I would rather use Microsoft Thunderbird with Google Webmail, Google Gmail to be period, but I don't like Google Gmail. I'm in the educational system and we have to use Google. There are a lot of plans in the education system there. It's more that someone in your IT department prefers Google. From screen to full screen kind of mutes your audio for a moment. Oh, it does? I know why that is. Hold on. Yeah, it's because I have the unmute when I move to camera. I'm gonna have to fix that later. It's just a matter of I have to remember to. So I have the buttons in Stream Deck programmed so that I can move from the stream setup and everything. Because when I hit the stream starting, it mutes my mic. Then again, I also have this to mute myself. I can mute myself with the Steam panel too. So I can probably remove that. But then I just have to remember to turn that on. But then again, I have to remember to turn my Sony camera on manually, so. Look, man, I have ADHD, and I'm worried that one day I'm just going to turn on, and y'all are going to be like, the hell is Chief into, like silent movies and trying to reenact Charlie Chaplin? ADHD. What's up, Chief? Setting up a pie hole right now. Nice, Micah. Welcome to your red pill into networking and everything. And just remember, that pie hole is really great with DNS block listing. But once you learn the power of pfSense and pfBlocker NG, you can take all those lists and pie hole. And you can not only do DNS blocks at the firewall, but you can also do IP level block listing. Great. And then you can do intrusion detection and intrusion prevention systems that look on the different patterns of how things go. Is this an Ask Linux questions? I don't know. Is that your one question? I'm kidding. We tinker. It's an ADHD thing. It's wherever the hell my night takes me and the wine decides to bring me. Have you used Power Automate? A little bit. Not too much because of the stuff I do in my work. It doesn't really work as well for what I want to do because a lot of the things I need to do hook into APIs for, Proofpoint, CrowdStrike, Zscaler, all this different stuff, and I have to, make a little script to do what I need to do. Not that often, but I maybe make a script maybe once a month or so. So. It's all the damn Chromebooks we support. See, that's your damn problem. Chromebooks. The Chrome is poison. It poisons your mind. It poisons your infrastructure. It poisons your students. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I've been dealing with Power Automate for like 2 weeks, to make a tracker of information. I'm surprised nobody was tracking before. Look, man, when it comes to these Chromebooks, can't we just go back in time and give them basic machines? By basic, I mean all caps. They'll learn to program in BASIC. On another note here, I said this before on Xiaohongshu. I was on Red Note. a while ago. And I said, shit, let me bring up my phone to make sure I remember how I said this. Because this comes into it. Wait, hold on. I'm jealous the new generation has cheap electronics to tinker with, but I also feel sorry they must understand so many abstracted layers. Does anyone else feel the same way? Especially people that were a little bit older. Hell, I think the argument could be made about people that are older than me, too, towards myself. Because I was at least on the cusp when I learned to start with computers and everything. We had to use DOS to boot Windows 95. I vaguely remember this as a kid. And we had to learn to interact with the computer at a very low level. Now, you have all these kids that get computers, smartphones, essentially. They don't know how any of this shit works. They just expect it to work. And they have no concept of how all this tech works, that they shill all this stupid tech advice. Like, I don't know if y'all remember. It's probably still on TikTok, though, but to be fair, I found out that a lot of the bad tech advice givers blocked me on TikTok because I kept calling out their bullshit advice. Like, there was this one dude I got into it several times with, calling out his content, and it was just fun to, like, pick apart, any future crotch goblins of mine are getting a Nokia brick. I will allow that comment. That is totally fine in this chat. Can you guess what a 7K company forgot to keep track of? Sure, someone must know of. There's somewhere to find that info. I don't know. There's a lot of things I can forget to keep track of. People's payments? I don't know. But I was saying shit. Tangent. Where the fuck did my mind go? Where was I going with this? Anyone want to refresh my memory where I was before I went? Ooh, squirrel. I learned from a coworker the other day that they no longer teach basic keyboarding, and I nearly lost my damn mind. Oh, yeah. You're a kid. You don't need a camera or smart capability. Just calls and texts. Pretty much. I've made the argument of... See, when I was a little kid, I got a cell phone, too. Now, when I got a cell phone, they were literally the flip phone that you could at most spell 80085 to spell boobs. That level of maturity that I still haven't grown out of tells you how old I was. Mentally, I'm probably still the same age. Oh, yeah, so, kids just don't know how technology works and then try to go directly into tech careers, and I'm experiencing a lot of people in tech that don't know how to use a computer. Like, they're just coming into college to use their first computer. What is your advice for youth? I'm 26 years old. Can I be enough to make my dream come true? Well, you spell ma with M-A and not M-Y. I don't know. But you can do it. Just put your nose to the grindstone. It takes a lot of work and effort. And you're 26. You're not that much younger than me. You can do it. It takes a lot of drive to push yourself to learn a lot of these things. You can do it even without college. I did it. Kids these days turn on caps lock to do a single goddamn letter. We've gone fucking full circle here, all right? Remember when millennials were the tech people and we used to make boomers fun of boomers for this kind of shit? Gen Z are the new boomers with tech. If you give a kid a flip phone, they know how, they'd have no damn clue what to do with it. Yeah, like giving them a stick shift. You want to know the honest truth? I blame the parents. I blame the parents for how tech illiterate a lot of this generation is. You know why? My best friend, who's one of my moderators in here, she's pretty busy working, so she hasn't popped in a lot here, but she's a moderator here. She's got 2 lovely girls. It is my job, personally, as their uncle, to turn them into STEMinists. You know, I want to get them to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Those kids know how to use an actual desktop computer. They game on a desktop computer. The oldest one, she's like, God damn, she's about to turn 13. I'm getting old. Remember when she was little. Anyway, we got her using AI to teach herself how to code. Of course, you know AI is going to do some shitty code, but she's learning Unity. She's making her own games. She's like 12. Going on 13. She's going to be further ahead of all of her friends if we keep pushing her. And that's what I want. That's what I need to see out of the next generation. So it is the damn parents' fault because y'all just fucking gave them a fucking iPhone and an iPad and said, get out of my fucking face. And they grew up and they didn't learn how to critically think. You know what I learned to do when I was a little kid? I got Legos. Remember the Lego Mindstorms? Do you remember this shit? Let me pull this up. Now, I had the retro Lego Mindstorms. Okay? Do y'all remember the Lego Mindstorms? You would literally use Legos to program all sorts of little robots with little servos and stuff like that. These were fucking amazing. They were fascinating. Lincoln Logs, still great, still great. You get to put things together and think creatively and use your imagination. The problem with giving a kid a smart device, whether it be a phone, a tablet, or something, is you box in their imagination. You don't let them use their proper problem-solving skills and think creatively and all of that. Do computer labs even still exist in educational facilities? I remember going down every Friday. They do and they don't. Unfortunately, it's tied a lot to the lack of funding in public education. So it depends on your zip code. It's shitty, but that's the truth. One never had technology, the next one grew up alongside technology, and the last one is growing up when tech is already old news. Yeah, that's why they're called Zoomers. Yeah. What should I learn? I just started from C programming language in Linux. Is that enough? It's a good start. The honest truth is I don't do C. I don't do much programming at all. I deal with a lot of different engineering of different platforms and stuff like that. It's just about learning where you want to be in which niche in tech. There's a lot of different things. Parents need to step up. Blame Canada too soon. Blame Canada! Blame Canada! They're not even a real country anyway. You know what's funny is that I'm kind of surprised that Donald Trump hasn't actually whipped out the South Park theme song to just like break out in song. Like, I'm kind of expecting one day with all the tariffs with him like going, you know, against Canada and everything to just like one day like start tap dancing and then just like do the whole like blame Canada, blame Canada. Like, I don't know. That's just my fucking weird mind. So there you go. I tried learning. A coworker taught his kids coding through Minecraft. I mean, if it works, it works. And now there's a ton of studies showing screen time before the age of 1 to 1.5 impact their brain development. You shouldn't give kids screen time. The honest truth, I would want to raise my kids similarly to how I grew up. Not entirely. The reality is there's going to have to be connected to the internet, but they don't need a smartphone. They just need a phone until they are of proper age where they can actually have some autonomy and be accountable and responsible. That just calls the people that are pre-programmed to their phone. Like, what was that? Hold on. I want to say it was the Firefly phone. Yes! Do y'all remember this? The Firefly phone? This shit is kind of what I think parents at most should give their kids. This was a very basic cell phone you could give a kid that you could only program up to 20 phone numbers in it. That's it. You couldn't call anyone. It literally just had this little, there wasn't much to it. You had an address book, call, hang up, mom, dad, that's it. That was the whole phone. This is, I think, what we should be giving kids. We shouldn't be giving them full Androids. We shouldn't be giving them full iPhones. The problem that I have is there are a lot of predators. You already know where I'm talking about on that. We don't need to get deeper into that. Kids, until you're of a certain age, I do believe parents should be directly involved in their kids and in their kids' lives and know the kids that they are friends with and approve of if they should have contact with their friends. That is just a thing I honestly believe. That's not to say there aren't asshole parents out there. Let me make that very clear. There are asshole parents. We're not going to dispute that. But I think we as a society have failed kids in that we will just hand them a smart device, let them talk to whoever they want and not have any oversight or control. And that's why we have a lot of the problems we do. There are kids that I see on TikTok, where I kind of want to reach through the phone and smack their parents. Like, what the hell are you doing letting your kid be in on TikTok? And let me, on that note too, if one day I happen to have a kid, they won't be on social media everywhere. The most you may see is like, hey, look, here is Mini Chief. This is the only image you will see of them. It'll be me welcoming to the world, and then you won't hear shit about them for 13 years. At least, until the kid decides they want to be online, and then it'll be strictly supervised until they're 18 years old. Because the reality is, as a content creator, I've seen too much shit go on. And I don't want, I also really, really, really do not like parents that, exploit their own children. You know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of these parents out there that are basically just using their kids to make money for themselves. Yeah, they aren't fully aware of the ramifications. They don't understand that people can find your location based off the metadata in the photo you posted. Absolutely. I've given my nieces some of the scary talks of things. I've also told her mom that when they start dating, I will be the crazy uncle that shows up and pretends that he just got out of jail and be cleaning the guns as they come in. Have you ever seen Bad Boys? I just got out and I ain't afraid to go back in. Kids in my school district use Chromebooks in kindergarten. What the fuck? In kindergarten? No. In kindergarten, you should be learning triangle goes into triangle square. Triangle square. Triangle hole. Maybe I need to go back to kindergarten. Just goddamn.
Emotional, damn it!
Looking at you, YouTuber families leaving California because you don't want to pay your children. Wait, what? Hold up. What do you mean by that? Like, is there, like, some law that actually is there to protect the children and the parents are moving? Because, does this have to do with, like, the, I'm not too familiar with California law. Like, if I recall, there's something, and this comes back to what's the little dude that was a child actor that got screwed over? Yeah, so I've always believed if parents are, if a child is working and they're making money to pay for family and stuff like that, I firmly believe that at least 50% of any of the money they make should be set aside in a trust, a bank account, something that child cannot touch, nor the parents, until that child is 18 years old. And that money is the sole property of that child. That is what I believe. Coogan accounts. Okay, that's what it's called. Okay. So wait, you're telling me there are families leaving because they'd have to actually give their children money so that they can ensure that they themselves have a future? That's a little bit effed, because, like, I'm sitting over here, like, thinking in my mind, like, if let's say, God willing, this content creation does pretty well, I can make some income with it. I could hire my kids and essentially give them a Roth IRA, 401k, put that money into their own account, not for them to spend, but so that when they turn 18 years old, they at least have a little nest egg. That's what I would like to set myself up to. I want to, if one day I have children, make the next generation better off than I was myself. That is what every good parent should be striving to do. And not extract wealth from our child, but build that child up to have a bright future. And I think if more parents were actively involved and not just saying, I want to have a kid, but I want to plan for a kid's success, we wouldn't have half the problems we do. Now, I understand there's a lot of people out there that financially it's very difficult and all that. I understand that. I'm not discounting that. But I am also saying there's a lot of families out there that are pretty well off. Maybe not like wealthy, but they're doing okay. They have a little bit of money left aside. They could put it into a college savings or something like that. You could think us, Chad, as your children then. If there's like 10 of us here, it will be expensive. I hate to break it to y'all, but y'all emancipated yourselves. I am not responsible for you. They are straight up extracting, exploiting them. Like, you know what disturbs me is, like, there was that one kid. Was it Ryan's Toy Reviews? Or, I think it was Ryan. You know what I'm talking about? There's this little kid that does toy reviews and everything. He made a large channel, like millions of followers. You can tell he's made quite a bit of money. I've always had the sneaking suspicion about them that their parents are forcing them to do it. When you're a little kid, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You just want to make mommy and daddy happy. That's what you want to do as a kid. But eventually you wake up and you realize all your parents wanted was what you could provide them. And I think, honestly, this is a big reason why a lot of us are not talking with our parents anymore. I don't talk to my boomer parents because they were very selfish, both of them. They're divorced. They, one parent kicked me out, when I was still trying to get on my feet because she wanted to live with her boyfriend. Among other things. Turn 18. All right, good. Fuck you. Out. That was basically how it felt. I don't think I moved out until I was like in my early 20s, because, like, that's common. I ended up living with my grandparents. But my dad was another asshole. Of course, my dad had an issue of he has mental illness. I've talked about this before, and that's a big reason why I don't talk to him is my family enabled his mental illness instead of listening to me about how he needs to be mentally institutionalized when I noticed he was spiraling several times. And because they let him spiral instead of listen to me, it got worse than it needed to be. I have a restraining order against my father. Just putting that out there. It got to that point. Like, my dad wanted to get me fired from my own job because I dared stand up to him and, call out the fact that my dad was doing some legitimately illegal things. He stole money from business partners and stuff like that. And I went to the business partners because I have an ethical and legal obligation when I discover things to disclose that. Don't have to be sorry for it. It's life. That's the one thing you're going to learn about in cybersecurity is but you need to be ethical. And if you find something, you see something, you say something, it doesn't matter who it is. Of course, it's tough when it's your own father and you're going to your father's business partner and saying, my father, I think, stole close to $250,000 from you. Didn't provide you shit. Yeah. Anyway. I don't speak to either my parent, and this is a very common thread from a lot of my millennial parents where we cut off our parents because they don't want to take responsibility nor accountability for their actions. It's always about how can you help me, not how I can help you. And if they make the case often of how I can help you, it's usually in the guise of how will you help me later on. How many people how many of you know of people that are boomers, that are retiring right now, realizing they can't live the life that they wanted while they're retiring, and are now trying to weasel their way back into their children's lives, and their children are shutting them out? If anyone needs a wine and vent session, I'll be in Discord. I got plenty of wine. I'll let my glass is empty. So I don't have plenty of wine. But I have a wine fridge, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottles. Ha ha! I'm just counting up. Hold up. How many brands do I got in there? Okay, so we got Orlano. I got 4 bottles of Casa Garcia. Yeah, we'll have to polish off another bottle of Casa Garcia this week. By the way, if you're looking for a good Portuguese Vinho Verde green wine, I definitely can't recommend Casa Garcia enough. You can find it pretty commonly in many grocery stores and stuff like that. It's a good Portuguese wine. I think I picked these up for like 10 or 11 bucks each. It's not that expensive. Also, Costco is a nice red Portuguese wine. Never been a big wino. Neither have I, to be honest. I've never really been a wine person. Then I went to Portugal, and I had Portuguese wine with every meal, and I actually enjoy it. I'm currently setting up my mother up with as many safety nets. I was flat out like, if you F up, I am the only kid who is making decent money who still won't be able to financially help you. Yeah, pretty much. That was kind of what I told my dad. Okay, so my dad, part of why he stole money from his business partner was my dad fell to a cryptocurrency scam that I told him when he just started getting in and was only $1,000 in. I said, don't do this. So, how many of you are familiar with pig butchering scams? And if you're not, this is very important to learn because these are growing across many different boomers, the older people. So the pig butchering scam is an offshoot of the romance scam. We're all familiar with the romance scam. It's basically like kind of a long con of you befriend someone or something like that. You become intimate with the person. Eventually, you get feelings for them. And then eventually, You start to trust them. Then they drop, I'm in some serious issue or something like that. And basically, they're taking you in for a ride to pay money. Oh, I owe somebody money, or, I lost a bunch of money, things like that. We've all heard of the romance scam. Okay. The pig butchering scam is a slight twist on that. There's not always a romantic component with this. Oftentimes, it's just someone trying to seem like a regular friend. Very often, they reach out to these people through, like, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, which is how they got my father. Like, I had to yell at my dad, don't communicate with random people on WhatsApp unless you actually know these people. Anyway, my dad came across someone basically came across, like, oh, I have this great investment opportunity. I'm making serious money. You should get in on this as well. There's many variations of it, but basically that's the premise of it. That's after they befriend you for a while, just talking about lots of other mundane things. It's another kind of a con. Anyway, they then lead you often to a website, and it doesn't always have to be cryptocurrency related. Often is cryptocurrency related, but it also could be like a stock investment, things like that. Either way, it's bullshit. Oftentimes, it's a fake, poorly coded website that is set up to look kind of like a legitimate stock exchange or crypto exchange or something like that. Now, I remember this website vividly. CoinZoomExa. Let me see if they still exist. Hold on. Exa scam. They might have taken it down. Yeah. So there was a website called CoinZoom, and that's a little bit different. But anyway, CoinZoomExa. Coin exchange. Anyway, so my father signed up for an account, linked up his bank account. Yes, he linked up his bank account to a random website. That's boomers for you. Put $1,000 in. He's like, I'm making money. Because, the other part of the scam is that these websites have ridiculous returns. My father was seeing this go up. I think it was like close to like 30% a week. And immediately I told him, when he told me about this, and he only had $1,000 in, I'm like, Dad, this is a scam. This is a scam. There's no way you're making that kind of return. 30%. And mind you, this is me. I've been in cryptocurrency since 2010. I read Satoshi Nakamoto's original Bitcoin paper when it's floating on the kernel.org forums. Like, I've been in this space for a while as a tinkerer, researcher. I'm not, like, rich off of crypto or anything. I did well enough to, be okay and get some property, but I'm by no means, like, a wealthy person. Like, I will disclose with y'all, like, I barely have fuck all in terms of cryptocurrency. I have way more money in my 401k and Roth IRA and general stock account than I do in cryptocurrency. I dabble in it. That is my pocket money, where if I make money on it's like I treat cryptocurrency in terms of the money I invest in it in the same way as if I go to Vegas. Here's the money I can afford to lose. Let's see where it goes. And I pick my things. I've won more than I've lost in my picks and everything. But I'm also a pretty conservative investor on things. Anyway, it was showing like 30%, gains per week, which of course was my first red. Well, that wasn't my first red flag. The first red flag was the website. This is one of the things when you are in tech long enough, you can just look at a website and you know it's shit. You don't even have to open up the debug console or anything like that. Yitz opened up the debug console when we were reaming my dad a new one for an hour and a half, ripping this website apart, piece by piece, to show him how bad it was, down to the authentication of how it was sending off things, down to how the website was running things locally, all that. But needless to say, I knew just looking at the website within 5 seconds, like, didn't have to log in or anything. I'm like, that's bullshit. The graphics look like crap, and it's just, the logo was, like, ripped off from another altcoin site. You know, it was just like everything didn't add up. Well, anyway, a person, had contacted him and got him into this. And, he kept putting money in, thinking he's going to win money, more money. And the problem is, the biggest victims of these scams usually are the most desperate people that actually need the money. Because the problem is, too many people get sucked in on get-rich-quick schemes. There is no real way to get rich quick. Getting rich is a slow burn and hustle to build one on top of another, and you let your money work for itself, and you keep working, and you do things like that. It doesn't happen overnight. Some people get lucky, but most lose everything doing that. And for those of you that do day trading in stocks thinking you're going to get rich, the average day trader makes barely more than minimum wage, believe it or not. Go look it up. There's stats on that. Anyway, as I was saying, so my father eventually puts $180,000 in there. And this was after several weeks of me telling him, when he only had $1,000 in, walk away. You only lost $1,000. You can recover from this. This was his money that he had from his retirement. He lost his entire retirement, I found out, on this scam. Now, why it's called a pig butchering scam is you fatten up the pig. You put your money in, you show these ridiculous gains, but eventually comes the point where you want to withdraw your money. And that's where the butcher comes in. Because when you want to withdraw your money, they hit you with an exorbitant fee. Usually because at that point they know you're desperate. And they're going to bleed you dry. And my father and I got into a fight for a whole day. Do you have $3,000 in USDT? Now, what was the alarm bell there was I taught my dad about cryptocurrency. I taught him about the concept of stablecoins. I taught him about USDC. I never mentioned USDT explicitly because I was like, this is Coinbase. Here's your Ledger hardware wallet. Here's how you move money in. Here's how you do this. And I gave him little lessons, little bite-sized lessons, because I knew my father, while he's a brilliant man, he worked on the Hubble Space Telescope, coded 10,000 lines of Fortran when he was in the Air Force to get the shutters to open and close and all that. This is legitimate. I've confirmed this. He's lost a lot of his way with technology. And he and I used to get into fights all the time because I said, Dad, I don't give a fuck that you worked on the Hubble Space Telescope. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck that you worked in InfoSec in the Air Force. Because that was the 1990s. Shit's changed. He even got into fights with me when I was enforcing multi-factor authentication in his company that he brought me in. And he's like, this shit's too complicated. I'm like, no, it's not. I literally have push notification. You open up your phone. It gives you the alert. You press yes if you're logging in. That's all you got to do. He didn't even have to do the code. I made it so simple. Push notification. A lot of you in IT and cybersecurity know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he got into a fight with me for $3,000 in USDT. And the red flag in my mind, of course, is like, this is an oddly specific request. What do you need $3,000 for? Do you have the money? I'm like, it's not a matter of if I have the money. That's just, at the time, that was my entire cryptocurrency portfolio's value. To a lot of people, that's a lot of money. But in the grand scheme of investments, that's not a lot of money. Okay? Anyway. He's like, I need it so that I can withdraw the money. And I'm like, no, you don't. And he's like, what, got into a fight? And I'm like, Dad, even if you had $180,000, and this is when he drops the amount of money on me, I said, you know that to withdraw that amount in Bitcoin would cost you no more than $5 in transaction fees right now. He's like, well, I just needed to get the money. I'm like, no, Dad. You got scammed. You lost all your money because you didn't listen to me. Remember, my dad is mentally ill, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type. I love my father, but this is the reality of what happens if your family doesn't take mental health seriously and ignores problems. They become a danger to themselves and others. And this is when my dad started to spiral, and then he started stealing money from his business partners. And then I had to go to his business partners and explain the situation. And I had to be honest and say, my dad's mentally ill. I love him, but I can't protect him, and I'm not going to defend him. Here's all the evidence. Because the unfortunate reality is, and this is what a lot of boomers have gone through, they have been, unfortunately, a little too spoiled by their parents that they shielded them from accountability and responsibility. And unfortunately, if you raise kids to not have responsibility nor accountability for their actions, they grow up to adults that don't take responsibility nor accountability for their actions. And boomers are also, we've all noticed this, some of the most arrogant but dumb motherfuckers. Again, love my father, but can't stand him. Let's get back to the chat. I was applying to some jobs and one asked me, can we message you on WhatsApp regarding the status of your application? Me, hell no. I don't do WhatsApp. I have a WhatsApp, but I don't do WhatsApp. You can signal me. But even then, if you can't correspond over an email, if you can't coordinate you setting up a Teams or a Zoom link, we no talkie. But, Summit 2, it's teaching the older generation that the tech is constantly changing. If you don't want to be the next groundbreaking breach that to happen to you, you need to keep learning. Absolutely. Now, the other thing that a lot of people should be aware of, and this is unfortunate for a lot of the people that are getting into tech right now, there are a lot of scams around fake jobs. And no, I'm not talking about companies that are posting ghost jobs they have no intention of filling. That's a whole other issue. I'm talking about people legitimately scamming people who are applying for jobs, taking their social security and other information, and then running off and stealing their identity. That is another problem. And the worst part about it is a lot of the people that are experiencing this issue with the jobs, the fake jobs that are scamming them and doing the identity theft, is this affecting a lot of the people that don't know any better? Because a lot of times, even in tech, these are people that haven't had the experience to build up that gut intuition. And the honest truth is, I tell people in cybersecurity this all the time if you want to get into cybersecurity. The best people in cybersecurity had a pretty rough life. They tend to be distrustful of people. They tend to know psychologically how people will try to screw you over. Often they come from broken homes, things like that. This is true. This is not always the case, but this is how it goes. You can't teach intuition, drive, gut reactions. These are things that learn from experience. And that's why I say cybersecurity isn't always cut out for everyone. It is fun. It is great. A lot of people can make a nice career out of it. But the best people in cybersecurity are the people that, unfortunately, in my experience, have gone through bullshit that makes them distrustful of people and have a firm view of trust but verify, if they trust at all. That's just my 2 cents. But nonetheless, I think that it'll be interesting. letting the next generation get on to tech and everything. But at the same time, I'm kind of worried about them. But yeah, there is a lot of different scams and financially out there. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it's been scamming people is literally an industry in and of itself. It's a very interesting take regarding mental health and cyber. It's true. I want you to think about some of the greatest people in cybersecurity, like, say, Kevin Mitnick. Kevin Mitnick fucked with a lot of computer systems that most people shouldn't ever go around fucking with. A lot of the best tech people that grew up into the cybersecurity space, that grew into being the better people to defend businesses and everything, were probably rambunctious teenagers, shall we say. Now, I've met a lot of good people, great people, that have normal lives and everything. But they can't think the way I do. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, because there's a difference between, well, how do you say it? You know, the best way to catch a thief is you think like a thief. And how do you think like a thief? Become a thief. In cybersecurity, I'm just going to be honest with you. I am thankful that the shit that I did in middle school, high school, and college didn't get me into trouble. Because that same stuff is what actually led me into having the career that I have right now. One day I'll get deep into how I actually learned about cybersecurity and everything like that. And learned about supply chain securities and, you know, all of that. It started with, like, physical things. Just trying to have my own fun outside of my parents and everything. The one thing I'm thankful for is I snapped out of it and decided my senior year of high school, I was going to take a year off and go study in what's called a yeshiva, which is a college seminary kind of thing to learn more about Judaism, and got in touch with my religion a little bit more the year after college, because that 1 year I was away, most of my friends in high school got hooked on drugs. And I ain't saying, like, oh, they were just doing a little of this. No, like, I think I've been keeping tabs on some of my friends through the grapevine. I don't interact with a lot of my high school friends. Well, any of them, really. I think we're up to, like, a death count of... yeah, I want to say 3 out of, like, the close to dozen friends that I hung out with have passed away. 2... wait, she did too. 3 got heavy into it and are in and out of rehab. So, like, 50% of all of my friends are doing okay. Things like that are why I left my hometown. Yeah, thankfully, I had opportunities to leave and rebuild, and when I came back, I tried to reconnect with a lot of these friends, and it was like, nope. The honest truth is, when I came back into the country, I had no friends for, like, a year and a half, 2 years. I just went to work and came home. Went to work, came home. Went to work, came home. I didn't start making friends until I went to a little community college just to get myself some direction on what I wanted to do and study, to be an electrician and stuff. Well, I did not choose to become a black hat. Well, because I like building things, I like tinkering, and most of all, I don't want to be in jail. Mr. Robot. 579, my highest like streak, because people definitely need to know this. But, yeah. You need to think, without getting too into it, I was using and selling certain substances in high school. Not like selling in mass or anything, nickel bags and all that. And it's all stuff that's legal now. Let's put it that way. But at the time, big no-no. And occasionally, would sell my ADHD meds for a few bucks and stuff like that. My friends definitely liked a lot of the, what you call it? So one of my friends, hey, thank you for the subscription there, Nonstoppus. 3 months. I don't know why the alerts didn't go off. God damn it. I hate that Stream Elements doesn't have the alerts go off sometimes. Anyway. But yeah. I had friends that, I had a friend, and the unfortunate reality of how a lot of my friends got hooked on, substances is, for most of them, it wasn't a fault of their own. So, for those of you that don't know, in the 2000s, there was the opioid epidemic, and one of my best friends, had a sports injury. I think it was from football. I think so. I think it was football. Yeah, it had to be. Maybe. Anyway, he needed knee surgery. He had a quack of a doctor that overloaded him on painkillers. He got hooked. And ever since then, just... yeah. When I say hooked, like... by the time we were in sophomore, senior year, he was crushing up pills and doing lines. Never been my thing. I hate those things. I hate painkillers. The honest truth is my mom is also an addict too. So, big reason why I don't talk to her. I am the kind of because of that whole mentality, I have the view of if I'm ever in pain, like I've had surgery and stuff, I will take just enough to take the edge off, but I still want to feel pain, because if I don't feel pain, I feel like I've gone over and taken too much. Does that make sense? Like max pain levels of hooked? Yeah, kind of. The opium wars never ended. Nope, they really haven't. It's unfortunate, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And the things that I've gone through in my life also help me understand the way the world works, for good and bad, and have helped me better myself and how I can put this knowledge into my career. And one day I'll get deep into how I learned so much about Darknet and things like that, and thankfully a lot of that, the statute of limitations is over. But I was able to translate a lot of that knowledge into a career in cybersecurity. Thankfully, I haven't touched many things since high school. Well, college. College is the last time I really did heavy things. I will say this. A little bit of acid changed my whole perspective on a lot of shit. I do not condone the shit, by the way. That's some heavy duty stuff. But I'm just saying. Anyway, back to Zittek. Yeah, did you see that Tesla went down to $262 today? It's been on a hard crash. Like Chris Farley and an 8-ball. Okay, that was a joke in bad taste, I will be admitting there. Can you explain, like, cryptography used to validate people who say they are in public forums? Like, is it just asymmetric cryptography? So, you're probably talking about PGP, right? Pretty good privacy. The, public-private key thing. Yeah, so, I'll show you something. A lot of you haven't noticed this, but if you ever go to my links.chiefgeek3d.com, I'll show you this. You go to links.chiefgeek3d.com. It has all my content, the things I'm affiliated with, all that. Go to the contact section here. See this PGP key that you can download here? This is my public PGP key. This is public. So what I do on business cards, I need to find where I have some from DEF CON. I give this PGP signature out there so people can verify things. But this block here, you can use to encrypt a message. Send it to me. And then I can decrypt it on my end. Now, why would you use a public-private key? So what we normally do is we generate our keys, then we publish them. So the way this works, when I say I publish it, you see this link down here goes to keys.openpgp.org. So let's open that for a second. There's many different sites out there like MIT, all that. So you can actually do a lookup. So the way this works is you can see there's an entry right there. You can grab that key. So the other thing that this also does is it's not just cryptography in the way of encrypting things. I can use it to sign things. Allow me to show you. I do this once in a while for very important things. Haven't done it in a minute. There's a PGP signed message here from September 2nd, 2024. Once in a blue moon, I will make a Discord announcement with my PGP key. And right here, look at that. Begin PGP signed message. So as you can see, there's a message here. But what does this all do? I have the instructions here about how you can actually you can verify this key. So you can actually download this key and verify it to this key. So I can use this as a way to sign things. So when I send an email from this computer on Thunderbird, I actually have it set up to attach my PGP key. And if I actually have you in my key database and I have your PGP as well, I can send that email encrypted to you, and only you can see it. So there's ways to verify as well as secure the message. I have no idea who Rob Halford is. I will take that as a compliment, though. What do you think about CISA seizing monitoring of Russia? It's fucking dumb! Here's the reality. Put all politics aside for a second here. Let's just go off of my anecdotal evidence, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of cybersecurity people out there. I know anecdotal evidence is not the best, form of evidence, but let's go with this, because I'm pretty sure a lot of other cybersecurity people will corroborate this information. If you go into your logs and you see where a lot of these attacks are coming from, what countries do you think come to mind? On everyday people. I'm not talking about government or anything. I'm talking about everyday people. Where do a lot of these attacks originate from? In my case, what I've seen, China, Russia, India. One could make an argument that these are large populous centers, but not Russia. Russia isn't as populous. It's actually a great landmass with not a lot of people. Let me see. Russia population. Russia has less than half the population of the United States. But they sure account for a lot of attacks. And I've actually seen interesting attacks that deactivate themselves if you happen to have a Russian keyboard installed. Not a physical keyboard. Just the Russian language as an option inside of your Windows box. Because they don't want to go after Russians. I've seen this. It's interesting. Now, CISA is supposed to be defending all targets and everything. Now, my understanding is that a lot of this has to do with ceasing the offensive operations, which I also still think is dumb, because the United States, we're lagging behind in a lot of cyber capabilities, just to be completely honest. I'm going to be honest. So, yeah, it is. And now, yeah, especially Jessica, announcing the cease is a bad idea. You never fucking let your enemies know what you are up to. One saying was, I think it was FDR that said this. Talk softly and carry a big stick. How does one close the gap on cyber? Well, the honest truth is the U.S. government does a lot of this themselves. So here's one thing you need to understand. A lot of the people that have knowledge of cybersecurity aren't the most, how shall we say, socially adjusted people. Do you know the FBI, for example, last I checked, this may have changed, will not consider candidates if you've smoked weed within the past year. I don't know about you. I don't do this stuff, at least not for quite a while, obviously. But a lot of the people I know in the space, they smoke weed. That's just one little thing. So you're not necessarily hiring the best and the brightest, because a lot of the best and the brightest, you have to think of them like artists. They're free thinkers. Some of them like to experiment with chemicals. I'm not that type of person. I like to experiment with grapes. So the problem is, culturally, a lot of the hacker culture and the Fed culture complete... Would juxtaposition be the right word? Sure, I'm using that the right way. Yeah, they're kind of... It's a juxtaposition. They are close together, but they're completely different. I just wanted to make sure I was using that in the right tense. Thing. Big soft thing, carry a big stick. Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, so it's Teddy, not Franklin. Good to know. Thoughts on Bruce? Bruce who? Bruce Banner? The Hulk? I know at least 4 guys in cybersecurity that got denied jobs because of weed, not gonna lie. Guys are now running security for major banks, crypto. Google, they originally started as hackers in their teens, making money doing gray hat stuff. See? A lot of the best people in cybersecurity kind of have a checkered past. I love grapes, but they kept giving headaches, and now I garden. Okay. Jessica, I gotta ask you. Was it red wines? Was it the red wines giving you headaches? Because if so, I don't think it was necessarily the grapes. It was the tannins in the wine. And those are more present in red wines. My aunt used to get major headaches and everything too. And I introduced her to Portuguese wine a couple of months ago. And ever since, she's been enjoying wine like she's never been able to before. Like, my aunt genuinely has been hospitalized from some different kinds of alcohol. Not because she's gotten drunk, but because her body no likey. So yeah, if it was the red wine, just try. See, you adore your Bordeaux and Burgundies. That's like the equivalent of a lactose intolerant person saying, I will die with cheese! As they blast their ass off to Mars in better ways than Musk's rockets ever could. Like, you want to know something that, like, cracks me up? I gotta say this. So do you ever notice that the average, he was also lactose intolerant. So you know exactly what I'm about to talk about here. People who are allergic to peanuts. Avoid peanuts like the plague. People who are, well, I was talking about this at work. People who are, like, allergic to peanuts, avoid peanuts like the plague. But then, you have, like, people who are allergic to shellfish won't have shellfish. Whatever, that. Then you have the lactose intolerant people that'll say, I will die on this toilet for my brie. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I will constantly sacrifice myself for the sake of cheese and ice cream. Yeah, see? But why you gotta make me sacrifice my love of clean air? I will say this, Jessica. I have a feeling after, chatting with you for quite a few streams and I think over on the Discord too, you and I would probably be buddies and crack up quite a bit. But I'm hiding the cheese. You can have some of my wine. To quote an artist, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Absolutely. But I'm still hiding the cheese. See, the problem is lactose intolerant people, when they say that they can cut the cheese, they can cut the cheese. And my God, edible gummies are my vibe. I can understand that. I don't do anything anymore because, my job and, the honest truth is, like, a few years ago, I kind of had the realization of I wouldn't be as productive when I did that kind of stuff. I still do CBD. I take CBD oil every night before bed. I take 100 milligrams of CBD, which has CBN and CBG in there. And then in my bag when I go to work, I have CBD edibles that are, no THC, just CBD. My boss also takes THC, not THC, CBD. So yeah, I totally get it. I quit drinking like 3 years ago, and I quit tobacco 30 days ago. Now I just sit here like a crazy person. Well, at least you're in company. What does the CBD do? CBD helps me calm down, and I've got a little bit of anxiety. So it helps me not be so crazy. It's a weekend only thing for me. I couldn't during the week. I need to function. See, that's how I feel. But yeah. I got 2.5 milligram gummies. So far, I only know they knocked me out while I only 2.5 milligrams? Or do you mean 25 milligrams? Because, like, 25 milligrams is my minimum dose I take on things. And then I take 100 milligrams when I go to bed. Helps my eczema, inflammation, mental state. How does it help your eczema? Because, like, wouldn't you need, like, the cream? Like, I know they have creams that have that built in, and there's some great ones out there. They make a 2.5. You weak. Weak! No wonder I see a bunch of shops around here for CBD. Yes, CBD is actually pretty effective. So for me, I noticed that CBD was by far more beneficial than the THC. Salve, yep. For me, THC is the psychoactive component that makes you go, oh yeah, man, Dave's not here. That's Up and Smoke reference. THC is the intoxicating component. There's delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol and delta 8 tetrahydrocannabinol. Now, when they're doing actual drug tests, they are testing for THC. However, in the USA, I think it was 2018, they passed the Farm Bill that allowed the cultivation of hemp plants that don't have more than 0.3% THC. And then what you can do is there's processes to take the THC out. So when you go get edibles, and in some cases flower too, when you go buy at these dispensaries, you can buy what's called a broad spectrum or a full spectrum. Full spectrum has THC. Broad spectrum has everything but THC. So if you want to get the benefits, most people only really want CBD. Maybe CBN, maybe CBG. CBN is, I think, the part that really helps you sleep. So, like, everyone emphasizes on CBD, but also there's more research going into the terpenes that go into the plant itself. So, it's been really interesting. I talk a lot about this with my doctor, because my doctor actually is one of the few doctors out there that has actually studied the endocannabinoid system of the human body. There's not a whole lot of research out there on the whole thing because, unfortunately, it's been illegal for so long that research was usually restricted. Now we're starting to see more and more research. But what's also interesting, CBN is in the 2.5 thing I mentioned. That's nice. Yeah, so I get like a mix of CBN, CBG, and CBD. And then sometimes I get the ones with terpenes, but I don't do THC. I can't. I feel lazy. I feel lethargic. I feel unproductive. And all I need is CBD. And the other thing I came to the conclusion of many years ago in therapy was the reason why I avoided a lot of THC and you know full on marijuana, all that stuff, is I'm the son of an addict, and there's an addictive mentality in things, but also I was using it to cope and avoid processing a lot of shit in my life. So, um, for me, on a personal level, it's not a good thing. For me. For other people, it's very beneficial. But CBD has been very beneficial. So I remember a few years ago, I went completely cold turkey. Off of weed and everything, and I was bouncing off the walls, and I talked to my doctor, and I'm like, I don't want to go back to it, but I need to do something, and I'm like, I think I'm going to go back to CBD, or at least try CBD, and CBD has been great for me. Which is why I used to self-medicate with Baja. Also, Mountain Dew Baja Blast has terpenes. Wait, Baja Blast has terpenes? No shit. See, the thing I don't like about Mountain Dew, I don't like the sugar in it. I've been avoiding sugar. Sugar's bad for me. Haven't found anything stronger. Yeah. They started selling these in the country. They're 2.5 each, but I gotta eat a handful to feel a thing. See, that's my problem, and that's why I take 25 milligram gummies. So, I'll share this with y'all. Even the zero sugar stuff is ick bad. Yeah, I don't like the zero sugar stuff. Like, I drink water. So mostly what I drink is sparkling water. So what I actually did was, I used to buy San Pellegrino all the time. You guys remember like all the bottles I had over there. That gets expensive even at Costco. 15 bottles, 750 milliliters each. That's 11.25 liters of San Pellegrino. I'd spend $22. If I get it on sale, it'd be $16. It's expensive. Whereas I can get a 5-gallon water bottle from a water delivery company for $8.50. Hold on. Let me do the math. 11.25. Wait, where's the calculator? All right, 11.25 liters divided by 3.8. That's a little less than 3 gallons. That's 1/3 the damn price. So what I do is to stave off the delivery fees, because it's like $14 to get the entire thing delivered. I buy like 6, 7, 8 bottles. Get that a month. And then I do my own soda stream. And I don't know if y'all have seen, but I had like 3D printed holders I made for the soda stream bottles. So I have like 4 canisters. And one's in there, and then I have 3 backups. So like I rotate through them. And you pay like $16 for the canister. Each canister can do 60 liters, give or take. And then I have that water dispenser with spring water in it. And I make my own water. And that's mostly what I do. And then if I want to flavor it, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just pour a little bit of cranberry juice in there. Because cranberry juice is good for you. You know? I love my soda stream. Yeah. So that saved me a lot of money. And that's mostly what I drink, if anything. I'm really just more of a sparkling water person. I don't really drink sodas. And when I do, it's Yarritos. It's Mexican Coke. Well, I haven't had Mexican Coke in like a while. Too sugary for me now. But Yarritos. I like Yarritos. The real cranberry juice, not the cocktail. Oh, absolutely. So what I do is I go to Trader Joe's, and you can buy the 100% cranberry juice in there. Yeah. So that's what I do. Not gonna lie, I saw VLANs in the about section. I'm in. Happy hacking, buddy. Welcome to the club. Yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, PCBWay has, officially started making the, new CNC backplate that we're working on this upgrade over here. So we will have an upgrade for this MNT Pocket Reform. And hopefully I can fix the thermal issue and the overheating and all that, and then I'll have to reposition the antennas and stuff. So that should be fun. Ooh, I forgot to tell y'all. So I found some NVMEs I can throw in to upgrade this. I was thinking about going out and buying a 2 terabyte NVMe. I completely forgot I had two 512 gig NVMe SSDs that I pulled out of old laptops and computers. So, yeah. Oh, CNC? Yeah, so, what I did was... Here, I'll show you what I did. So, the MNT community had a, no, it's Jaritos. I like ya. I don't know. It's just something like, since I'm in Germany, when I say J-A, I think ya. Jaritos. Yaritos. So give me 1 second. I'm going to GitHub. I'm going to find the project here. Okay. So, I'm CNCing this plate over here. So you notice how they have this over here? That's the same top plate, except what they did was they open sourced the design to get it made, and PCBWay is sponsoring the video, so I will be disclaiming that they are paying for it. It's $116 to get this done with a laser engraving. But you can see that's the original backplate over here. So the reason why we're doing this is... Here we go. People have been doing all sorts of ways to fix the heat issues. So... After receiving my Pocket Reform, I noticed heat-related issues. The main annoyances were CPU throttle and a sudden drop in Wi-Fi speed at times. I suspected that the primary cause was the PCB lid. Although it has 2 copper layers, the insulating base material, FR4, in between likely contributed to the heat retention. My idea was to replace the lid with a simple aluminum backplate. After discussing the idea with others on IRC, I felt a bit discouraged due to concerns about potential Wi-Fi shielding. Nevertheless, I decided to give it a try. To my surprise, it was a complete success. The temperature dropped significantly and the Wi-Fi remained functional. I decided to do some measurements to quantify the improvements. I tested the Wi-Fi speed with different lids using iPerf from the same position in the room. My desk, the temperature was tested by streaming a 1080p video on YouTube with Chromium and hardware acceleration turned off. So, as you can see, that's the internet speed stabilizing versus with the PCB. And that was kind of the issues I was having, was not only would it drop, but it would just shut off after a while. Now, as you can see, the CPU and SoC would get into the mid-80s. It gets kind of hot, all right? Now, the new lid dropped it down to the mid-50s. That's a significant drop, 30 degrees or so. So now, they designed this custom lid with all that. And then someone else in the MNT forum found the files to make the lid. And yeah. I'm using the commercial like this. Yeah, so someone, you know, I'm going to add more thermal pads to it. And people have been confirming the issues. So this guy made the same lid. So I actually am going through PCBWay. Why can't the engineers I work with document like this? Because open source is better. We just we do it for the fun. So the reason why I'm going with PCBWay is PCBWay was the manufacturer of this aluminum case that we're already using, right? So I wanted the purple to match. So imagine this purple with my logo laser engraved. That's what they're doing. The only imperfection that they had was this little thing over there, the little, where they were hanging it for the anodizing. Not a big deal. But, like, you had tons of people working on this. Felt everything thinner than too minimally did not rely on contact. Yeah, so they were talking about the thermal pads in here and everything. And, you have people talking about, how to adjust the Wi-Fi antenna reception. That looked janky. And then someone did the same thing with JLC CNC. Like, look at that. That's an interesting logo there. With the little MNT laptop there. The Grim Reaper with the puppy. Because everyone likes puppies, even the Grim Reaper. Take my puppies, Grim Reaper. But yeah. You have tons of people were talking about this issue. But yeah, so I'm gonna be they're currently CNCing it. I did get confirmation. Now, the entire plate with the specs, everything I gave, came out to $116, including the laser engraving of the logo in an aluminum plate with purple anodized color and countersinking the screws so that the screws can fit in flush just like this. It is expensive. But I think part of that probably had to do with the tariffs and everything, to be honest. I was looking at the invoice. The cool thing is that I didn't pay for it. PCBWay gave me a $150 budget to work on the project. And then they're going to pay me money on top of it to talk about PCBWay in some upcoming content. So I was like, look, I was going to pay for this anyway. But if you're going to pay me for the part and then pay me money on top of it, why not? I was going to use you anyway. Now, the only complaint I had with PCBWay was there was some back and forth that we did ultimately have to do because the reality of the situation is my logo, the penguin, has a gun. They had an issue because their policy talks about, firearms and everything. And I had to go back and forth with them and talk about them with their own policy and say, my gun is an image representation. It is a branding icon I've been using for roughly 5 years now. It is not a firearm in and of itself. It is not promoting firearms or anything. Although in the future, I probably will have some content relating to firearms. But that's a whole other subject. We're not going to be using PCBWay for that. But it did set me down the path of... because PCBWay didn't want to laser engrave the lid, and I was like, fine, I'll probably have you make it, and then I will just go get it laser engraved locally. It did make me discover some people that could laser engrave my firearms. So now I'm really tempted to get my logo laser engraved on my firearms. Good for you, sticking to your guns. But yeah, after a little bit of back and forth, they finally understood my position. And I think what really helped seal the deal was Tuxedo Computers is laser engraving my logo into it. Now, they wanted to confirm with me before they sent it out. Hold on. Hold on. Do I have it? Oh, yeah, here it is. So, within, I shit you not, a few minutes of the back and forth that we were having on with PCBWay. I got the proof in from Tuxedo Computers about my super key being laser etched. They sent it to me because they were, double checking with me because it's very small. You're talking about a little chiclet keyboard. We're talking about something like, I keep forgetting this camera's not it. This is so weird. The camera that I used to use is right here. It's like I keep trying to go here, but I keep forgetting this is here. Because there's a little teleprompter here. So it's this small of a key. So you can imagine if you have this small of a key, you're gonna lose some details. And you can tell, the little A for anarchy inside of the little Debian swirl didn't come out right. You can kind of see the eyes and, the hand. You lose some of these details. I think it looks fucking fantastic. I couldn't ask for better. So they wanted to confirm with me this was okay before shipping it out. That is the only picture I have so far of what my laptop is going to look like. Until I actually get it in my hands, because they already shipped it out to me. So I am really curious, because I told them I want the full color logo here. This logo here. Here, we'll pull it up so you can see it a little bit better. Laser engraved on the back, and apparently they can do color laser engraving. Portable hole puncher. Just think that in 5 years, it's going to get even better. What? Distinguish the eyes when it's all white like that for some reason? Oh, yeah. So, I had them laser engrave this logo here. It's in an SVG, so it can scale up. It's scalable vector graphics. So this logo here is going to be put on the back of the laptop, apparently in color. And then I sent them the black and white logo over here. So you can see here. This is what it looks like. You can tell, the A, it had, this kind of, paintbrush swirl. You can see there's a lot of detail. So a few details were lost. But when you're talking about an icon that is that small, you're not going to notice. Now this I'm really looking forward to. And it should come out nicely because there's only 4 colors in here, from what I understand. Maybe 5. Anyway. It should come out really nicely. I was referring to the key improvement over time. Oh. You're talking to them. Print a key improvement, no time. Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this new laptop is going to look like. And it should last me 3 years at least or so, maybe longer. I'm hoping it lasts longer. But the honest truth is I only got the 3-year warranty. I could have gone the 5-year warranty. Probably going to hit them up in a couple weeks or so and say, is there any way I can possibly pay the difference for the 4 or 5-year warranty? Because I've already paid for the 3-year. Now this laptop, I want to definitely get lasting and repairing and doing all the things myself. Now, I do need to, replace the batteries in this. I know that. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm kind of waiting for, the thermal lid to come, because it's okay, great. My battery is replaced. Yay! Now what? Yeah, I can tell the battery on this is, kind of wonky. Because it doesn't charge that well, and one battery pack is 0.6 volt difference between the other one. Yikes. But I still have to say this ortholinear keyboard is one of the nicest things I've seen. I really wish that, there were laptops that had more mechanical keys. Like, not maybe like full, on like MX switches like this, but could you possibly make them thinner with not too much travel but still clicky? Or if not clicky, at least linear. That baby my machines. Hubs uses our gaming laptop for conferences, and I have him yeet the downloads programs if he's not going to use them. I baby my stuff too, don't get me wrong. But I also travel with them. And, I still always get warranties with my stuff. Now, what I'm also looking forward to is this summer, I want to start de-appling my stuff. I'm really committed to moving away from the iPhone. It's not that I have issues with Apple per se. It's that I want to have more security and privacy over a lot of my devices. And Apple out of the box does a really amazing job. I will not dispute that. I will stand on that hill until the winds shift. But I'm not the average person. I'm capable of doing a lot more. And I was sitting back and I was thinking, and I was like, there's nothing specific to my iPhone that I can't do on Android. I don't take too many selfies and all that stuff, and even then, the Androids have a better camera. I don't, do anything. The only thing that I kept coming back to is, the only thing I like is that I have iMessage. And iMessage is nice because with my less technical family, I can at least make sure I have end-to-end encrypted messaging. But I think I'm going to take the full steps, do the full plunge, and transfer over to Android. It's going to be some work. Because I'm going to need to export my contacts, my calendar. I'm going to need to figure out how to back them up and everything. It's going to be an interesting journey. The thing that's going to suck is I'm waiting until the Pixel 10 comes out because I'm hearing great things about the Pixel 10. And I'm going to need to buy the Pixel Watch at the same time. Honestly, with Apple supporting RCS now, it's easier to switch over. Well, the thing is, RCS doesn't support encryption as a requirement. It supports it as an option. So, Apple doesn't do RCS with encryption. Most Android phones actually don't encrypt their messages, contrary to popular belief. RCS has some nice features, do not get me wrong. It is better than SMS. But RCS still needs improvement. And this is where I will say Apple iMessage is superior to RCS. Ooh, that's another video idea. Let me put that down. Because I already got 2 videos that I'm going to be recording and everything like that. Make a note for that for myself later. Hey, buppers. Hey. Do not knock over the wine glass. Hey, that go boy. Hey, that go boy. RCS. Write a YouTube script for talking about RCS and iMessage and how RCS doesn't require encryption, whereas iMessage does. all the other good things. RCS, especially with Apple supporting it now. Encryption. Yeah, he just came in, said hi, and then said F y'all. Okay. So, I will cut that, Yep, I will, cut that into a script. That'll probably be video number 3, in the near future. I gotta flesh that out. That'll probably take me about an hour or 2 to write the script. You know, the amazing thing about LLMs and AI is I can at least word vomit what I want to talk about, and it can help me shape what I'm talking about. Because you all can tell I can talk off the top of my head for a lot of things. And for streaming, that's perfectly fine. But when I'm recording content, it is very difficult. And that's why I'm so looking forward to this teleprompter. This teleprompter is just fucking amazing. Oh, by the way, let me show you this. Let me show you this. So, hold up. I installed the CUDA thing so I can have it track my voice as I speak. Let me show this. All right, so I'm gonna bring this to the top, and this actually will track where my voice is speaking things. It uses NVIDIA CUDA, which is another reason why I needed an NVIDIA 3000 or 2000 series to do this. So make sure, click the voice sync, microphone, Rodecaster. All right. I'm just gonna read just a little bit so you can see this. Ready to roll the camera? Whether it's a video script or talking points, Camera Hub and Prompter give you full control over your delivery. Here in text mode, Prompter automatically mirrors anything you enter onto its screen. This way you can stay on script while maintaining natural eye contact with your audience. With its familiar interface, Camera Hub makes it easy to organize your text, paste in text, or enter it as you go, add emojis, bullet points, and line breaks, separate content into readable chapters once your text is entered, add formatting to make it easier to read, change font and size, adjust background and text colors, fine-tune margins for ideal positioning. You know, like, this is so cool, isn't it? You can even adjust opacity to blend text into the background content. You know, like, this is so cool that, like, I can actually have it track my voice. That is what I'm looking forward to. That's why I bought this specific teleprompter. Because I can actually write my script. And that was the issue where I was like, okay, so imagine I'm reading off the script over here. I would look, you could tell I was like reading off the screen. Whereas, like, imagine, let's do that again. Like, so you can see me reading. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, it's totally worth it. Like, it does take a little bit of investment because the camera itself, I spent a few $100s on. The teleprompter's another $280, but you could fit a regular webcam or something behind it. It's made for the Elgato face cam out the box, but you can adjust the different shrouds to make it work. So it works with a lot of different things. Like, it's designed for, like, serious professional cameras all the way down, and it's really customizable. So, like, let's see. So, like, let me show you what it would look like when I go to read a script off of this, okay? Ready to roll the camera? Whether it's a video script or talking points, Camera Hub and Prompter give you full control over your delivery. Here in text mode, Prompter automatically mirrors anything you enter onto its screen. This way, you can stay on script while maintaining natural eye contact with your audience. With its familiar interface, Camera Hub makes it easy to organize your text, paste in text, or enter it as you go. Add emojis, bullet points, and line breaks. Separate content into readable chapters. Once your text is entered, add formatting to make it easier. Read, change font and size, adjust background and text colors, fine-tune margins for ideal positioning. Oh yeah, that'd be great if you could actually like put smart glasses or something like that. That would be interesting if you could do that. But like, do you see how amazing this is? Just like reading off of that, and I can have that eye contact with you all, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to things, because I want to make sure that I can present properly. And unlike Elon Musk, I will give my heart out to you without the funny mustache man way. But yeah, I am ecstatic about this. But the only thing that bothers me okay, you have to adjust the brightness, because like, look at the center of the screen. Do you notice that little like part brightening up? That is because I'm brightening the text. So you have to like play with this section over here. Because the way this works, just so you're aware, is that what it's doing is there's a little LCD screen attached to the bottom down here. And it's projecting up to a mirror that's reflecting that to me. So, yeah. I have to keep it at like the minimum light level there, so I have to play with it. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So, you can't really see it, but you can see, you know, like behind. So, this is what's really cool, because the OBS camera is looking right at it. You can see the camera right behind the lens because of the light and the way it's going. You see, like, right in the center, right where the word ideal positioning is? That's the camera lens behind it. And what I can also do with this is I can have it do a full-on display, or I can even have it do chat. So I can do... I can even display my Twitch chat on here. Isn't that neat? Now, the only downside is this only works with Twitch. It doesn't work with TikTok. It doesn't work with YouTube. See? Isn't that neat? This teleprompter actually does some really cool things. I can't wait to start recording with it. Yeah. Yeah, it's really fun. I'm really floored with just how much this setup seems to improve everything. A link in description. I don't have a link to it in the description, but I should. I'll add when I start making my YouTube videos, what I will be doing is I will be putting all the camera equipment that I'm using in the description, so you can buy it. It'll be links to Amazon, of course. Money. But oh, and Discord. Yeah, I have a link in I have links in Discord for a lot of this stuff, but this is just the Elgato teleprompter. They only have the one teleprompter. So I'm really floored with this little thing. The other cool thing that I did is, so the cool thing about the teleprompter, let me show this too, is it has these two little shoe hooks. So actually you get the perfect so you see what I mean? Wait, hold on. Okay, so this is a good way to show it. This right here, that's the actual screen. And then this, that's just the glass that's reflecting off of. Then above that, I have a little mini key light to put light on me. So I can show that to you. I have a little controller over here. That controls this light. And it's very bright, as small as it is. That's only 4% brightness. Like, let me turn that all the way up. That's max brightness. I feel like I'm staring at the sun. Now, the other thing I did, I can share this. This is what I love about the, why I kept the OBS bot camera. Because I can actually show things off. Now, eventually what I'm going to do with the OBS bot camera, you see this little arm right here? I want to put the OBS bot camera here to have a top-down view, so you're going to be able to see my tinkering and everything from an overhead view. That's my plan. The other thing is, this is the Keylight Air that I used to have. So this Keylight Air I've had for like 2 years or so. That used to be behind the OBS bot Tiny 2 to give me lighting. That was my only light. So all I did was I moved that over here, and that's why the lighting is so much better overall. And then what I did, what I'm thinking of doing is I'm seeing just a little bit of a shadow, and I want to add another light over here. I just need to figure out how I'm going to fit that in. But I would love to get at least one more key light. Not a mini. I would like to get another air, but I think they're discontinuing those. And then I have to get a mount. So I may as well just get the regular key light, which is a little bit wider. I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah. I do appreciate the creators that share their stack. Look, I'm all about sharing the tech on this channel, of all sorts of things. Now, the one downside I will say, and this is more of a niche issue for me, it's not going to affect most of you. Going deeper into the Elgato stack means that I'm going to have to stick with Windows for the Streambox. So OBS is running on the Streambox with an NVIDIA GPU. If you get the regular key light, you may need to diffuse it more. Yeah, there's ways I can play with it. Well, I can also control the lighting color. So I purposely put my lights at 2900 Kelvin. The reason why isn't because it necessarily looks better with me, but because the bluer the light, the more headaches and eye irritation I get. So you will always see me in a more orangey kind of light, primarily because I can't stand looking at blue light. I have blue light filtering glasses as it is. On my screens over here, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, they're slightly red shifted. Just ever so slightly, that they veer towards the red color. So that is one way I've cut down on my headaches and migraines. I used to get migraines 2-3 times a month. Now I get them once or twice a year. And I get the occasional headache, of course, as everyone expects. But it's a lot better than it used to be. So, yeah, it's, I think, going to be really nice. I'm really looking forward to it. And the nice thing about the way that I'm doing things now is I feel like I can prepare more to make the content I want. And then all I have to do is like properly script it out. Like, hey, we're gonna, talk about this content over here. We're gonna do this thing. Um, okay, the opacity's there. Ooh. That contrast. Okay. So I will have to say that I'm noticing just a little bit slight light over here with the text. Because let me see if I turn the teleprompter off. Yeah, that's the only downside is I can notice an ever so slight white. You see I turn the prompter off, turn it on. The average person I don't think is going to pay attention to that, but it's going to bother the fuck out of me. Ooh, it's got an overlay button so I can actually program exactly where to look. This is going to be fun. Got an AM meeting tomorrow. It was great hanging out. Thanks for hanging out, Jessica. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to be... Thanks for hanging out, Jessica. Love having you around, buddy. And I'll see you in the Discord. But yeah, I'm loving this whole setup here. I'm loving the ability for me to be able to prepare content in the ways I've been wanting to for a while so that I can delve into the deeper topics. There's been a lot of topics I've been wanting to get deeper into, but the hard part was planning it out and then not having the conflict of the perfectionist of me when I'm editing things. Because when I look at a video, I try to take note of, if I'm watching my video, how does this present to me? And I don't want to, I feel like eye contact when you're making a YouTube is a very important thing. Even in a TikTok, it's an important thing, which is why I'm very happy that this is all working out so that I can do what needs to be done. Oh, the other thing that I'm working on soon is I got a new remote. This remote is going to pair to the Sony camera, so we'll soon be able to do like zoom-ins and stuff like that. That should be fun. That should be very fun. So the one thing I'm going to have to remember, though, is when I stream, turn off the teleprompter. That is one thing I'm definitely going to have to remember to do. But overall, I'm very happy. It's... The teleprompter was definitely an expense. The camera was definitely an expense. And so was the mini light wasn't that bad. That was $60 for that. But overall, I'd have to say it's not too expensive of an investment. Yes, it's a good chunk of change, but overall, to achieve the content that I wanted to do without dropping too much more money, because, like, yes, you can get better teleprompters and all that stuff, but I'm not at that level yet. I think we're on the right track, and I am ecstatic to make more content. So I already have my 2 first videos planned out that I'm going to be recording. One is let me pull up the scripts. Hold on. I mashed down a bunch of notes in my notepad. The first one is, I'm calling it, this is a working title, How Apple Lost Its Way, a Scorned Apple User's Perspective. The other one is... Hold on, let me make sure I got the title right for this. Scroll up from the notes. No, Mozilla isn't selling your data. Here's the truth. Talking about the Mozilla thing. Now, the other thing I'm going to work on, which was a topic that was brought up tonight, RCS versus iMessage encryption. So I actually spat down a little bit of an idea. I'm going to have to work through this, but this looks like a good start with ChatGPT. It's one of those things where I have to go back and forth, and then I have to reformulate things to sound like me, and then, go back and forth. And, now I can at least do proper research on different topics, formulate it in the way I want. Whereas if you've noticed some of my prior videos, a lot of the content involves me doing cuts to editing chief, where I go in and I am giving a, perspective of, hey, while I was making this video, I didn't realize this, or, maybe there's a new development or something like that. And I don't want to do that as much. I want to be able to present the topic, do the thing, do the needful, and I'm hoping that I can shoot my goal eventually of maybe making 3 videos a week. But I will be happy with 1 video per week. It's 52 videos a year. I think that's achievable. Not only that, I'm really looking forward to eventually cracking this bad boy out. I'm probably gonna first use this camera, the DJI Pocket Cam 3, when the new laptop comes in. Should be here tomorrow. So, admittedly, there's probably going to be a TikTok first about it. And it's just going to be a very, very basic TikTok of, this is my laptop, and it's sexier than any of your MacBooks. But we shall see. I think it's going to be a fun time. But anyway, it's about 11 o'clock right now. I got work tomorrow. Please do the needful. I learned that phrase from my Hindu coworkers. Oh, it's a running joke in IT. It is. But anyway, I thank you all for joining me. It's about 11 o'clock right now. I'm going to go to bed just a little bit early tonight. And we're going to be raiding out here in a second. But if you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Mastodon. I have a Discord. I have a Matrix server as well. The links are in the bio over on TikTok and in Twitch as well. You can click the links to go to there. And I've dropped the links as well in chat for y'all on YouTube and Twitch. The links are also in the bio and the YouTube side of things. I'm hoping to have more YouTube videos come out this next weekend. I'm going to start recording them very soon. And not next weekend, next week. Latest they'll be out next weekend, but I'm hoping next week. And yeah, but thank you all. Love you all. Happy hacking. I'll see you Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget, Saturdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have movie nights in the Discord too. And this movie is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure this weekend. So, be excellent to each other. Happy hacking. Stick around for the raid.